Hero of the Otherworldly Castle. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 26 Banquet 122. After returning to Cheyenne City, it was already late. After letting the 120 soldiers who had worked hard to demonstrate go back to the team to rest, the housekeeper was asked to prepare a welcoming banquet. At the same time, Yang Ren from the Hubeo Bureau was ordered to prepare food, clothing, housing and transportation for the soldiers in the barracks, as well as the barracks banquet tonight. The barracks banquet is a large piece of meat, with a small amount of limited alcohol. Usually, drinking is prohibited in the barracks. The banquet in the Lord's mansion is to introduce the main officials of the territory to each other. For Yang Song now, such a scene is already familiar. At the banquet that night, everyone, this is the general of the infantry brigade Di King and Di Hanchen. This is the staff of the infantry brigade Lu Su and Lu Zijing. The development of the territory has brought two great talents here, and their arrival has also brought a mighty army, which has made the security of the territory more secure. Come. Let's raise our glasses and welcome the arrival of the two. Yang Song stood up from the main seat and raised his glass to speak. Cheers to both of you. Welcome to both of you. Welcome, welcome. Seeing Yang Song standing up, the officials present were very understanding and stood up to listen to his speech. When he finished, they all echoed him and welcomed him with a smile on their faces. No, excuse me, everyone. I'm guilty. Both of them were very modest and said it was nothing. They raised their hands to salute everyone present, especially bowing to Yang Song who was in a higher position. Haha, come on, drink. Yang Song raised his hand to signal and first drank the fine wine and the blue and white porcelain wine glass in his hand. Cheers. Everyone echoed in unison and drank the fine wine in their hands together. Everyone, introduce each other. I won't introduce one by one. Haha, be casual. Haha. Yang Song was really happy today. The inspection of the new infantry brigade during the day made him breathe a sigh of relief. For a while, the scene became lively and everyone smiled and introduced each other. The wine was mixed. People came and went. It was so lively. You are General Di King. I have long heard of your great name. I'm Yang Zhang, appointed as the magistrate of Cheyenne County. We will be colleagues in the future. Please take care of me. As a member of the civil service, Yang Zhang only knew Di King and Lu Su in the military system and introduced them. Thank you, Magistrate Yang. I'm Di King. I'm new here. Please take care of me. Di King also said politely. I'm Zhao Wu, the cavalry commander of the territory. When we have time in the future, General Di, we can have a discussion. I'm a straightforward person and my words are not pleasant to hear. Please don't mind. As one of the three military commanders of the territory, the cavalry commander felt a little uncomfortable with his new comrade. Hello, Commander Zhao. I'm Di King. I'm new here. I don't mind. I will definitely ask for advice when I have time in the future. I hope Commander Zhao will be generous with his advice. Di King did not have any feelings about Zhao Wu's words, but just replied seriously without any mistakes. Yang Song sat alone in the main seat, drinking a little wine, watching his subordinates' conversations with a smile, calm and composed, but thinking in his heart when he could find the passage. In addition to the new Di King and Lu Su, Yang Song sat at the same table with several researchers including Shen Kuo, as well as several officials who belonged to him, including Yang Li and Yang Zhang. The other table was for officials from the administrative system of Cheyenne County. At Yang Song's table, civil officials were on the left and military officials were on the right, just like a meeting in the council hall. After noticing this little detail, he found it quite interesting. Lu Su noticed that the Lord was drinking alone there and stepped forward to toast. I toast to the Lord. The current scale of the territory is completely inseparable from the wise leadership of the Lord. I drink first as a respect. After that, he drank the wine in the glass in one breath, with the bottom of the glass facing up to show respect. Zijing, don't flatter me like this. I know how much I'm worth. If it weren't for the strong support of all the great talents, what can I do alone? Yang Song smiled and drank the wine in his hand. Lord, you don't know this. Zhuz, the great god, stood up and said to Yang Song, as the saying goes, a snake cannot survive without a head. A territory must have a lord. Moreover, the lord has a far-sighted vision and extraordinary wisdom, which is known to everyone. Lord, don't be too modest. Okay, Mr. Zhu has said so, I won't be modest. Come, I toast Mr. Zhu, and trouble you with the education of the territory. Yang Song was really a little scared of Zhuz, the great god, because his influence was too great. Fortunately, the talents in the territory now are from different eras. There is not much memory, only their own knowledge and personality. Lord, now the territory does not lock the door at night and the road does not pick up lost items. The work of the subordinates is really easy. This is all the peach blossom land that can only be owned under the leadership of the Lord. The subordinates also toast you a glass. Song's the eye of the inspection bureau, the famous judicial officer. What kind of place can an injustice happen in the small territory now? His main task during this period is to supplement and improve the Cheyenne Provisional Code. Mr. Song, thank you for the compliment. Our territory is small and our population is small. There are few places that need your help. It's a waste of your talent. I have no choice but to let you perfect the code. I also want to toast you. Yang Song is still very confident in the abilities of these great talents. However, the territory now has only more than 50,000 people and a radius of only a few dozen kilometers. There are many things that he doesn't need to say much. These talents will do it perfectly, which makes him relax a lot. With the establishment of a whole set of systems and institutions, he really only needs to plan the strategy now. Seeing the officials present toasting and drinking, Yang Song was still thinking about the soldiers in the barracks, so he stood up again and said, everyone, eat and drink well. I'm going to the barracks to comfort the soldiers. Excuse me, wait until I come back and continue drinking. Don't go home until you are drunk tonight. Come on, cheers. I obey your command. I must not go home until I'm drunk. Haha. Thank you, Lord, for your hard work. Farewell, Lord. Cheers. The civil officials all stood up to see Yang Song off, and the party became lively after he walked out of the gate. I'll go with you. Lu Su followed and said, I'll introduce you to the officers of all levels. I'll go too. Deking, Zhao Wu, Zhang Wei, and Yang Ren, who was in charge of logistics, followed him out and wanted to accompany him to the barracks. Yang Song thought about it and agreed. That's right, these officers should also get along with the soldiers. After leaving the Lord's mansion and walking on the street, the cool breeze of the night gently blew over him, and his head, which was a little groggy, instantly became much more sober. Alas, my body still hasn't kept up. It's only been a few cups, and I'm already drunk. I used to drink 2 or 3 kilograms. Yang Song thought to himself, and his physical age is now 21 years old. When I first came here, I was 18 years old. 3 years have passed. Zijing, Hanchen, let's walk over there. It's not far anyway. Let's get some fresh air and sober up. You can drink later. Haha. Yang Song smiled and suggested to the people following behind him. Okay, listen to the Lord, but don't worry too much later. Drink less. You still have to come back and continue drinking with these colleagues. Haha. Lu Su also smiled and joked. Chapter 27 Silent Warrior. Zijing, you are really unforgiving. Yang Song and his party walked towards the military camp in the north of the city, while talking and laughing. Unknowingly, they walked to the gate of the military camp. From a distance, they could hear the noisy and lively sounds coming from the military camp. Yang Song and his party smiled at each other. Haha, let's go. Yang Song took a step forward and walked forward first. He was ready to be drunk. After the guards verified their identities, they entered the military camp, and the noise was even more overwhelming. Brigade Commander, Staff Officer, I didn't expect you to come. The brothers are eating and drinking. This was a captain on duty. After seeing Deking and Lu Su return to the military camp, he came to say hello. Okay, this is a lord. Come and see him. Deking responded and introduced Yang Song in front of him to the captain, asking him to come and see him. I'm here to see the Lord. I didn't recognize you just now. I hope the Lord will forgive me. The captain took 2 steps forward and stood in front of Yang Song, bowed and saluted, and apologized. Only when he got closer did Yang Song see that the captain in front of him was very young and handsome. With his neat and tidy temperament as a soldier, if he was outside, he would have ruined many girls. No need to be polite. It's normal that you can't see clearly at this late hour. Go back to your duty. After the shift change, go and have some fun. We will go in first. Yang Song gestured to excuse himself and exchanged a few words. Walking all the way, looking at the red bonfire in the military camp, piles of bonfires were distributed in an orderly manner. Each bonfire was surrounded by many soldiers, laughing together, drinking and eating meat together, which was very heroic. Not only in the military camp, but also in the surrounding open space, there were bonfires. There are nearly 5,000 soldiers in the military camp now, which has reached the upper limit of the capacity of this military camp. Now they are all lively and spread out, and the scope of the military camp is not enough. Similarly, Yang Song went to the general platform at the bottom of the military camp first, and the others kept accompanying him. Arriving at the stage, he took the wine bowl handed over by the guards, faced the audience, held the bowl in both hands and said loudly, "Commend officers and soldiers. Please be quiet. Just like that. Relax. Just listen to me." As soon as the voice came out, the whole audience immediately fell silent. The soldiers who were just about to stand up and line up sat down again obediently. As elite soldiers, the soldiers had already noticed Yang Song and his party. And even in a very safe military camp, the necessary vigilance is indispensable. Commend officers and soldiers. All brave warriors. I'm fortunate to be able to drink with you here tonight. It is a great honor. These words were not Yang Song's acting, but his true thoughts in his heart. He also knew that his true feelings now revealed that he was losing the dignity of the monarch, and he still called himself I. It was a taboo, and many people below would look down on him. Not to mention that Lu Su and Lu Zijing on the side were still hinting at him crazily. He was very relieved. I'm very pleased with the loyalty of this new wise man who I have not met for a long time. At least it shows that he is qualified to be a monarch. At least there are people to share his worries. At least he is not really alone. But now he just wants to take advantage of the fact that he is still a little drunk and indulge himself. Put aside his scruples, put aside the so-called imperial studies, and even put aside the heavy burden that fell from the sky and pressed on him. In the future, I will create a future with you here. Not to mention protecting our homeland, not to mention guarding our territory. This is what you should do. Apart from that, let's just talk about your abilities. Such an excellent army should not be buried. You train day and night, in the hottest days of summer and the coldest days of winter. What are you doing for? Isn't it in the hope that one day you can achieve great things and return home in glory? Don't worry too much. This is human nature. I'm the Lord, the monarch. Isn't it the same? Isn't it for the sake of being recorded in history, so that future generations can remember me, the ancestor who founded the prosperous dynasty? Ha ha ha. Speaking of this, Yang Song was really excited. He laughed 3 times. Without saying a word, he drank the bowl of wine in his hand that he had been holding for a long time. It can also be regarded as moistening his throat. Lu Su next to him looked at this lord who really couldn't be persuaded and could only worry. But he thought for a moment, maybe this is not a bad thing. And the soldiers below the stage, whether they were middle-level lieutenants and captains, or lower-level garrison commanders and squad leaders, whether they were sitting to eat meat or half reclining to drink. From the moment he started speaking, he stopped what he was doing, listening to him quietly, concentrating, without a single extra movement. Even if Yang Song's saliva flew on the stage and his words were so inconsistent with the scene, there was no change at all, just listening quietly, listening carefully. He drank the wine in the bowl and thought about it quietly, and he discovered this. Logically, the soldiers below the stage should be more disciplined and honest when listening to him, the boss. No matter whether they were convinced or not, at least they should do their surface work, agree with those who should agree, and laugh when they should laugh. But now this scene really shocked Yang Song. He had never seen such an army before, and he had never even heard of such an army. He didn't feel that speaking alone on the stage was an embarrassment or a formality. Instead, he felt a kind of warrior called speechless and fearless. Not a warrior. Yes, they are warriors. They are not warriors, but they are better than warriors. Forgive his lack of vocabulary and imagination. He can only use the word warrior to describe them now. They are machines, but they are not. They have souls. They have their collective souls and their collective will. It is not the kind of confidence in victory, formed by the ever-victorious army. But phenomena such as victory and failure cannot shake their silver will at all. This is something higher than the military soul. The so-called organized soldiers and military souls he saw during the day are all superficial. The deeper ones can only be discovered after contact and certain opportunities. Just like this welcoming dinner now. Using silver to describe this will is the most appropriate metaphor for Yang Song. Gold is too vulgar, and the others are not worthy. The shiny silver is the most appropriate. Dazzling but not dazzling. Precious but not miraculous. After discovering this situation, Yang Song didn't know whether he should continue. He even felt that only by continuing to speak could he justify this discovery and the silent and serious soldiers in the audience, but continuing to speak made him feel that this was another blasphemy. This is just right. That's it. This is the most perfect. He has spoken and drunk the wine, and the rest of the time belongs to the soldiers. After getting off the stage, Yang Song shook his head and watched the soldiers in front of him return to the lively scene of eating, drinking, and playing. He felt that the discovery just now was completely an illusion. Am I really thinking too much? Yang Song has doubts about this. Maybe he drank too much. Maybe it's the psychological amplification effect caused by the long-term lack of security being filled by these new soldiers. Who knows? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 28, An Ordinary Day. When Yang Song stepped down from the command platform, Lu Su stepped forward and said, "The Lord is a true hero. You must sacrifice your life for the Lord and the territory, and do your best to repay the king's kindness." "Yes, sir." Lu Su was cleaning up the ass of this lord who had already gone crazy. Walking back in the same way, on the way, Yang Song walked leisurely on the empty street. Zijing, did I say something wrong just now? No, how could the lord say something wrong? Lu Su replied seriously. You still say no, aren't you saying that I was wrong in your words? Ha ha ha. But it doesn't matter, I won't blame you. Yang Song laughed and said that he was not so stingy. Zijing, do you know that before you came, the security of the territory was very limited, with only 1,000 soldiers, and the militia could only serve as logistics transportation. If there were no enemies around, I don't know what to do. Yang Song said. Fortunately, you are here, and it is such an elite force. Not to mention the lack of aggressiveness, at least it is strong in self-protection. You see, I was a little excited today, and I drank some wine in the evening. Now I'm showing my true colors. I don't know how the soldiers will look at me as a lord. So that's the case. The lord is worried that the words just now will make the soldiers look down on you. This is really too much. Don't worry, lord. The soldiers will support you. Lu Su said very affirmatively. Then I'm really relieved. That's what he said, but the actual situation can only be verified by time. Back to the mansion. The banquet is still going on, but there are fewer people drinking and more chatting. This is also waiting for him, the Lord, to come back. Otherwise, everyone is drunk, and when the Lord comes back, he will lose face. Everyone, keep drinking. What are you doing? Don't just talk and don't act. Yang Song saw that the officials were almost out of interest. Didn't we agree to get drunk before we go home? Haha, come on, I'll toast to you all. It must be said that this was the first time in such a long time that Yang Song was so happy that he didn't wake up until almost noon the next day. He didn't even remember how he got back to the bedroom last night. Oh, alcoholism is really harmful to people. Ah, my head hurts so much, it seems to be about to explode. Yang Song half sat on the bed, holding his forehead with his hand, looking at the curtains on the top of the bed, and groaning in pain. Bang bang creak after two gentle knocks on the door. The door was pushed open. How are you, Lord? Two crisp and gentle girls stood in front of the bed and greeted him. Aren't these his two gentle and lovely maids? After getting up and changing clothes with the help of the two beauties and drinking the sobering soup, he instantly felt much more sober and his head was relieved. I don't know if it's because of the good effect of the sobering soup or because of seeing the beauties. He went downstairs to have a light lunch and flirted with his two maids as usual. After they blushed and bled because of shyness, he laughed twice and returned to the study upstairs to handle daily government affairs. There were not many government affairs, just some reports and material distribution plans that needed his signature and seal for approval. After dealing with them 2 or 3 times, he issued a few more orders. The first order was to the county magistrate Yang Zhang, ordering him to prepare materials and craftsmen in addition to doing government affairs. After discovering the passage, he was asked to transport these materials to the target as soon as possible to build the checkpoint. The materials were mostly cement, and the others were construction equipment, life supplies for craftsmen, and other materials. The bricks and stones for building the checkpoints could be collected on site or nearby. One order was sent to Li Ji of the Military Industry Bureau, asking him to imitate the weapons and equipment of the infantry brigade. Not to say that they could be manufactured immediately, but at least they should be able to maintain the existing weapons and equipment. One order was sent to Zhao Wu, the commander of the cavalry, asking him to send more troops to explore the north and strive to find the location of the passage as soon as possible. Zhao Wu's cavalry has been responsible for the exploration of the territory. They are very familiar with the surrounding environment and can reduce the time to find the passage. The last order was sent to Yang Ren of the Rear Security Bureau, asking him to count the consumption of the new army and military supplies such as military rations, military uniforms, and ammunition, and make a plan and budget. This is a very important point. If the territory cannot know the specific consumption and the logistics cannot keep up, even the bravest soldiers will be dragged down. After finishing these tasks, several hours have passed. After walking around in the small garden in the backyard and stretching his body, he rode on the warhorse and went to the military camp. He trotted on the horse in the middle of the street. Next to it was the horse road, and outside was the sidewalk. Because it was daytime, there were more people on the street, so even if he was on the horse road, he didn't dare to go too fast, but it was much faster than walking on the messy streets. Yang Song rode on the horse and looked at the several guards behind him who were guarding him, looking at the bustling streets, the many pedestrians, and the carriages passing by from time to time. This orderly picture of life made him very satisfied. Soon Yang Song and his party arrived at the military camp and walked into the gate of the military camp, where he was also allowed to enter after his identity documents were verified. In addition to seeing what the soldiers thought of him after his speech last night, he came to the military camp today to let the infantry brigade prepare for the march. Once the passage is found, go there immediately. Be prepared to fight. Once this passage connecting the outside world is opened, it will not only connect the territory with the outside world, but it may also be discovered by humans from the outside world first. Thus, the territory will lose the initiative, lose the geographical advantage. After instructing Deking and Lu Su, the main task of the day is completed, and this visit also has a small gain. In the remaining time, he can relax. Because the territory's people are fully utilized, and the system is complete, he, the Lord, has less things to do, so even at such a critical moment, he can have leisure time. It is not like the wise emperors of ancient China who forget to sleep and eat. Yang Song recalled that he had heard that Qin Shi Huang stipulated that he must handle a fixed weight of bamboo slips every day before he could rest. I also heard that Zhu Yuanzhang, the founding emperor of the Ming dynasty, had to personally handle even small matters like a maid in the palace stealing a few taels of silver. Although this is a manifestation of wisdom, he thinks that this is just an imperfect system, where there is no way to divide the work specifically, and people cannot give full play to their talents. In addition, the emperor was reluctant to give up power, so he had no choice but to do it himself. This is not a joke. Leaders must do what they should do, and subordinates must do what they should do. What are so many subordinates for? Just to hear them shout "Long live below" every morning court? Yang Song rode his horse back and thought about it. Back to the mansion, I sat leisurely in the pavilion in the backyard, drinking good tea and reading books. There were not many entertainment activities during this period. Tea is grown by the territory itself, on a high mountain in the north. The output is not much, basically only enough for a few dignitaries in the territory. Now the planting scale has been expanded, and this small amount of tea is just the result of experimental planting. Chapter 29. Inventory of belongings. In this world, there are not many entertainment activities in this era. After finishing their daily work, the people basically go home. Those who have some spare money go to restaurants and pubs, but not tea houses. Those who don't have spare money can only go home to hug their wives and beat their children. As the famous specialties of Chinese civilization, the most famous are tea, silk and porcelain. Yang Song will not forget these famous products. It's just that they have just started, the scale is too small, and they are not enough for their own use. The required manpower is summoned from the refugee camp every day, and the population of the territory is increasing every day. But the number of people increased every day is not large. In order to maintain stability, they will not recruit thousands or tens of thousands of people in one day, but recruit in a long-term way. According to the needs, the number of people recruited every day ranges from dozens to hundreds. This is because the recruitment is carried out on a household basis, and it is impossible to accurately count. One day, only one recruitment was made. This time it was a large household with more than 100 people. After registration, I found out that this household was a large family. It was not just because of some reason that they were collectively affected, but I couldn't remember it anyway. The territory will not care what these people did before, as long as they abide by the law and discipline in the territory. They are not afraid of any family power. The territory will redistribute resources. The maximum amount of land limits the development potential of these big families. There will be no phenomenon of running in one direction for a day and still being in their own land. Moreover, the world will be dominated by industry in the future, and the previous local rich ideas are outdated. For the future development potential, Yang Song will limit the amount of land, and there will be no phenomenon of no land available for opening factories. Although there are wild wastelands everywhere in this place, but sooner or later, they will be developed to the extreme. As a lord, you can't just focus on the present, at least you have to consider the problems after this land is occupied. Now that the territory has passed the most difficult period at the beginning, it is time for rapid development. In the council hall, officials of all sizes in the territory gathered together. This is the third day since the passage was opened, and it is also the day of the monthly general meeting. The court meeting system of the territory is a small meeting every 10 days and a general meeting every month, except for special circumstances. Gentlemen, the territory is developing rapidly. The passage to the outside world has been opened, and we are now searching for it. I believe it will be found soon. Now let's take inventory of our belongings and prepare to deal with the impact of the outside world. Yang Song set a theme for today's meeting. First, let me talk about the military of the territory. Yang Song continued, because the army of the territory was directly in his hands. Now the army of the territory has a regular infantry brigade of 3,500 people. The territory guards 1,000 people, including 700 infantry and 300 cavalry, but the weapons and equipment are a little worse than those of the infantry brigade. The rest are all the young and strong in the territory, who can serve as militia in wartime, after training during the slack season. Yang Song first gave a detailed explanation of the military situation, and then said, "Next, Yang Song, you go first." As the county magistrate of the only county in the territory, Yang Song still has a lot of say. The current territory is not so much a territory as a county, or even a small county, and the county magistrate Yang Song is equivalent to the administrative head of the territory. "Yes, sir, colleagues." Yang Song stood up, bowed to Yang Song and those around him, then sat down again, opened the book in his hand, and said, "The current population of Cheyenne County is more than 53,000. Because the population is increasing every day, the specific number is changing at any time. The food reserves are enough to feed 100,000 people for 3 months. However, because the population is increasing, and the food is consumed every day, it is estimated that it will only be enough for 1 month after the population reaches 100,000. Fortunately, the population increase is not temporary, and it is enough to wait until the grain harvest in 2 months. The second is the more than 1,000 war horses and more than 3,000 steeds, but all of them are stallions and mares for breeding. This number is expected to double by the end of the year. Due to the Lord's order, these war horses will only be distributed to the army after 5,000, and steeds can be provided in small quantities now. We need more oxen. Now there are more than 5,000. Except for the breeding cattle, the others are all distributed to various villages and towns, saving a lot of labor and reclaiming more than 5,000 acres of land. Counting the fields at the beginning, there are now more than 300,000 acres of fields in Cheyenne County. The second is a distribution of the people. There are more than 15,000 people in Cheyenne City. In addition to the more than 10,000 people in the city, there are nearly 5,000 people outside the city. The population of other villages and towns has only increased appropriately. Outside the city, the people have spontaneously built a large number of houses, and the distribution of these houses has been planned. Because they are all self-built, the styles are quite diverse, but most of them are built with reference to the houses in the city. According to the overall planning of the territory, 4 new counties will be added in the 4 directions of Cheyenne County in the future. Now the planning is almost done, and the new county will start from the north. Secondly, the official roads between villages and towns, and between towns and cities have been completed, and the infrastructure such as post stations and schools in villages and towns have been completed. The only remaining branch roads between villages will be built by each village and town. Finally, there are various factories in Cheyenne County. The factory output is stable, with an annual steel output of 10,000 tons, more than 50,000 tons of coal per year, and nearly 100,000 tons of copper, iron ore and other minerals added up to each year. There are still not enough people in the factories and mines. I just hope that it will be better in the future as the population increases. That's all. Yang Zhang made detailed descriptions of the government affairs of Cheyenne County, that is, the territory. Whether it is food or steel, people can hear it clearly. Lord, I'm Kan Liang from the Finance Bureau. Kan Liang, who is in charge of the territory's finances, will report next. He also stood up and saluted Yang Song and his colleagues around him. First of all, there is commercial tax. Because private ownership has just begun, the tax in this area can be ignored at present. Therefore, the taxation of the territory is mainly based on agriculture, and the tax on agriculture is 1/10. Different grains are levied according to the quality and output of different fields, and they are levied on households. But because of the reclamation order issued by the Lord, the tax was exempted for 3 years, so now only a small part of the land that was reclaimed earlier is taxed. And because the Lord has been continuously purchasing grain, in order to maintain the price of grain, the tax on agriculture is very low. Fortunately, after 3 years of public ownership, the territory has accumulated a large amount of materials, so the finances have not collapsed. Moreover, to put it bluntly, the large amount of paper money printed now to maintain expenditures is a disguised form of seigniorage. It is precisely because of the large amount of materials accumulated in the territory that the paper money issued by the money houses will not become waste paper. These materials can be used to collect paper money through stores, and commercial taxes can be levied. Therefore, the hard work of the people is the driving force for the development of the territory. Next is the financial expenditure for construction in various places. The construction of official roads, post stations, schools, and other infrastructure also consumed a lot of materials. Fortunately, the output of the factory belongs to the territory, so it has persisted. Finally, there are military expenses. The military's wages and logistics are under the jurisdiction of the Security Bureau, but the budget is approved by the Lord and allocated by the subordinates. There were only 1,000 troops before, not much. But now an additional 3,500 troops have been added, which will definitely increase the financial pressure in the future. That's all. Chapter 30 Educational Technology. Kan Liang did not give an accurate number throughout the whole process, because it was really difficult to count during this period. He only knew whether it was enough or not. If it was not enough, there was nothing he could do. The entire territory was only so big, and the output was only so little. The premise of development was to be supported by the economy, and the economy, to put it bluntly, was just resources and the use of resources. In the past, the cost of public ownership was only the labor cost, and it was just to provide food and shelter. Now that private ownership has been implemented, wages have to be paid. Fortunately, money is paper money, so just print it hard. Whether it can be collected or not depends on future development. This is equivalent to overdrawing part of the future income, which is a bit like national debt. And the increase in the number of people every day is the wealth of the future. So Yang Song and other talents are not afraid of fiscal deficits. As long as there are materials, resources, and people, as long as you stay stable, don't be impatient, and master the rhythm, development can continue. In summary, this is just the set of developing productivity. Lord, everyone. I'm ZHUZ. I shoulder the heavy responsibility of education in the territory. According to the Lord's plan, education is divided into 5 levels. The enlightenment for ignorant children, the beginners who have just learned knowledge, the secondary school with 1/3 of knowledge, the advanced school for those who have entered the hall, and the university for those who have mastered the art. ZHUZ, who was in charge of education, often spent time in the library. He found that the original theories of Lygia were not applicable in many places. Therefore, he had new insights into education and his own unique insights. Nowadays, there are elementary schools in the villages, junior schools in the towns, and middle schools in the cities, but no universities. In addition, a technical school was established at the suggestion of the Lord, which is the same level as the middle school, and is called a technical secondary school. Educational schools teach children words and numbers, junior schools teach popular poetry and arithmetic, and middle schools teach trigonometric geometry and classics of sages. In addition to these 2 main subjects, the school also teaches fitness, swordplay, riding, bows and crossbows and other self-defense and enemy defending skills. And the technical secondary school established according to the Lord's wishes teaches professional skills such as business, cooking, machinery, water conservancy, and post-communication. But both higher education and universities require a sufficient population size and enough time to accumulate enough teachers. Only these few great talents in the research institute can be qualified for the position of university teachers, but there is no way to establish a high-level institution. After ZHUZ finished his somewhat meaningful conclusion, he stopped talking. Mr. ZHU is right, but the current situation of the territory is like this, and I'm powerless. I can only hope that you will help me more in the future. Yang Song respects people with knowledge and morality the most. Even though the establishment of these 3-level schools basically absorbed all the talents in the territory, in the end, there was almost no one to be an official at the town level. Fortunately, there is not much need for officials at the town level. In addition to the mayor and deputy mayor, each town only needs 5 lowest level officials: the household office, the guard office, the agricultural office, the business office, and the post office. The territory needs more clerks. They all need to be literate. In the end, some officials at the town office level are completely alone. Fortunately, the population is not large, so they can handle it themselves, but it is a bit harder. The courses such as cooking and business skills taught in technical secondary schools are all taught by chefs and wealthy businessmen. When they wanted to recruit these people as teachers, many people did not understand. It felt that letting these mercenaries be listed as teachers was simply an insult to teachers. But Yang Song knew that this was prejudice. Although sometimes these so-called lower level personnel have many inappropriate things in life, there are reasons for that. Just like not all teachers have teacher ethics, people are not exactly the same. No one is born to be a bad person. So under Yang Song's mandatory order, it was passed. Then the people in the territory began to not understand again. Isn't it said that studying is of high status? Why are they still learning these things? At this time, Yang Li from the Propaganda Bureau came out. Under Yang Song's order, he used simple and popular language to publicize the role and benefits of this technical school. This solved the problem. Moreover, this propaganda unexpectedly convinced many officials and teachers who did not understand it before. After all, teaching without distinction also applies to teachers, and the first to achieve is the first. In the propaganda, the article on teachers has a great effect. Then it's Mr. Shen's turn. Lord, everyone. I'm Shen Kuo, the director of the Territory Science and Technology Bureau, managing the Research Institute. After studying the technology in the library, I found that the factor is in the territory today lack effective power, and the power of water alone is not enough. Shen Kuo was a rare great inventor in ancient China. After understanding the term technology in the library, he knew that these inventions were not strange and lewd skills but real power. Especially after a deep understanding of various disciplines, he knew the importance of basic science. In the past, it was enough to know how to use this technology. Now, we need to investigate its theoretical logic and thoroughly understand the principle of the operation of this universe. Of course, the last point is just the ultimate goal. For example, the most used mechanics. The 3 laws of force and universal gravitation are all placed in the library. These theoretical knowledge made him indulge in it, and he deeply realized that he still had many shortcomings. After reading the collection of books, I found that something is very suitable to replace water power, that is, the steam engine. Shen Kuo said, "I know this, but can Mr. Steam Engine make it?" Although Yang Song didn't know how to make a steam engine, he knew the changes caused by the steam engine and the importance of this thing to a civilization. Not at present, there are only theories in the library, lack of experiments and data. But I have the confidence to make it within a few years. Shen Kuo is still very confident in the mechanical aspect. Then I'll trouble Mr. Shen. In fact, Shen Kuo's figure can be seen in many scientific and technological aspects of the territory. Shen Kuo participated in guiding farmers to carry out deep plowing and crop rotation, flood control, embankment and bridge building, road planning for transportation, and even production and manufacturing in factories. For some projects, such as bridge building, he was the leading engineer. It can be said that without Shen Kuo, the development of the territory would not be as fast as it is now. It is absolutely true that science and technology is the primary productive force. Things with some technical content, such as movable type printing, sextant, and glass, were completed under his guidance. As for popular technologies such as compasses and paper making, he is not needed. There are still many such craftsmen in the territory. Now that the store has been spread out, the required talents are lacking again. To be precise, the territory has always been in a state of lack of population and talent. At the beginning, there were few officials and soldiers, and now there are few people and talents. Sometimes he dreams of governing tens of millions of people, millions of mercenaries, airplanes and cannons covering the sky, cities standing in groups, and factories all over the city. But after waking up, he can only return to reality. The accumulation of heritage bit by bit. Chapter 31, Staff Officer's Concern. Today is the 5th day since the passage was opened, and no one knows when it will be discovered. Yang Song looks at the cavalry's exploration progress on the small map every day, but the mountains in the north are too rugged. The straight line distance is only a few hundred meters, but the cavalry has to go up and down the mountain for a whole day. At this rate, I don't know how long it will take to find it. Until I'm a Lu Su, a staff officer, and I must be loyal to Yang Song, the monarch. I know the situation of this 3,500 man army under my command. When I woke up this morning, I saw soldiers on guard outside the barracks. I knew that they had never seen us before, so I asked a nearby captain to report it. After a while, the monarch came. This monarch asked everyone to call him Lord, and they had to add the word sir. Although I don't understand this practice of lowering my status, since it is an order, I will do it. The above is Lu Su's inner monologue when he came to this world. I'm Lu Su, the staff officer of the infantry brigade, and I meet the Lord. Lu Su followed the commander and bowed to the monarch on the stage. Then there were all kinds of explanations and introductions. My throat was almost smoking after a whole day. The first thing I did when I returned to the barracks was to finish a bowl of water. Ah, it feels good. Lu Su breathed a long sigh of relief with water drops still hanging on the corners of his beard. General D, do you think the Lord will recognize you as a general? Haha. Lu Su called D King a general because the system set the main general of the brigade level as a general. Staff Officer Lu, just say what you want to say, no need to beat around the bush. D King was sitting in the main seat of the main account, reading a book. Hearing this, he glanced at Lu Su. Okay, then I'll say it straight. Lu Su put down the bowl in his hand and sat on a chair to the left of D King. We have so many elite troops coming to the territory, and the territory originally only had 1,000 troops. Do you think the Lord will be concerned about us and let our elite army do some dangerous tasks? Although we sincerely want to be loyal to the Lord, human nature is really unpredictable. Lu Su said. Colonel Lu, you are exaggerating. Since we are sincerely loyal to the Lord, how could the Lord do such a thing? I think you are just worrying too much. Deking put down the book in his hand, turned around and replied to Lu Su seriously. Haha, okay, but why didn't you say you were a general today and only introduced yourself as a brigade commander? Lu Su was really curious about this. General is not self-proclaimed, but must be conferred by the monarch, and brigade commander is my position. Is there any problem with this? Deking was straightforward, but not stupid. No problem, but when do you think we can tell the Lord about the military ranks? Although the military organization has been told to the Lord today, I don't know what the Lord thinks about the military system and ranks. Lu Su has only known his monarch for one day and doesn't know much about him. This can be done anytime. Don't think too much, have a good rest, and you have to go to the banquet later. Deking was still looking forward to the upcoming banquet. After leaving the Lord's mansion, Lu Su and others accompanied the Lord for a walk on the street, occasionally replying to him, but still thinking about the military rank. He had not found a suitable opportunity to talk about this matter until he returned to the barracks. Standing on the stage, watching the words of the Lord in front of him facing the soldiers below the stage, he was really relieved and anxious. What made him relieved was that the Lord had no concerns about this powerful army and trusted him very much. What made him anxious was why the Lord did not speak according to the script, and the Lord seemed not to see his crazy hint, but in a blink of an eye, he thought that perhaps such a true monarch could make the soldiers more obedient. I don't know if the Lord finally understood it. The Lord stopped speaking and walked off the stage. But I can't be so cool. Lu Su stepped forward and said, the Lord is a true hero. You must sacrifice your life for the Lord and the territory, and do your best to repay the king's kindness. Hearing the responses of the soldiers, he was very satisfied. They are indeed the real elite. In the following conversation with the Lord, he learned the Lord's inner thoughts. He was sure that this was not a show, but the Lord's real thoughts. Now he was really relieved. The next day, Lu Su and Deking were cleaning up the mess after last night's banquet, and a messenger came to convey the Lord's order. Captain D, Staff Officer Lu, this is the Lord's order. Please receive the order. The messenger was a guard in the Lord's mansion. Deking respectfully took the order from the messenger with both hands and said, I receive the order. Lu Su bowed and saluted to the order at the same time, saying, I receive the order. It has been confirmed that the two of you have received the order. Please sign. Then the messenger took out the signature confirmation letter to confirm the receipt of the order and asked Deking and Lu Su to sign. The two looked at each other and wrote their names on the signature confirmation letter. This signature confirmation letter was established by Yang Song because he felt that the transmission and feedback of the order lacked evidence and effective procedures, so that the person who received the order would not be able to use the excuse of not receiving the order in the future. It also stipulated that all orders must be issued in written form. Subordinates have the right to refuse to execute orders that are not issued in written form, which also prevents the occurrence of superiors shirking responsibility. The order ordered the two to clean up the army and prepare for the march. A very simple order. The two immediately summoned their subordinates and assigned tasks. The Lord has issued an order to prepare for the march. Deking lived in the main seat of the big tent and said to his subordinates, these officers in the big tent were the commanders of the battalions and formations of the regular infantry brigade. There were 2 battalion commanders and 9 formation commanders. Staff Officer Lu, go find the people from the rear security bureau to confirm the logistics supply. Deking ordered. The regular battalion is the vanguard, the light cavalry formation is the 2 wings, and the heavy battalion and other formations are the center army. I obey your order. After these officers went to prepare, Lu Su also went to the barracks to find the people from the rear security bureau and asked them to cooperate with the infantry brigade and distribute the corresponding supplies and equipment. Not long after Lu Su returned to the big tent to report to Deking, the Lord came to the barracks to find the 2 of them. The Lord came this time for the passage. Hanchen, Zijing, a passage connecting to the outside world appeared in the northern mountains. The territory is now looking for the location of this passage. Once it is found, you need to rush there as soon as possible. The Lord's explanation made them both relieved. Just now, they were still wondering if there were any enemies around the territory, otherwise why would they send out the army? Now they know that there is a passage leading to the outside world. Lord, this passage must be found as soon as possible, occupied as soon as possible, and a pass must be built to protect the territory. Lusu said anxiously, this is a heaven-sent advantage, we can't let it go. Zijing and I think exactly the same, but now it's only been a day, it's useless even if we are anxious. We can only wait. The Lord's words calmed Lusu down. Chapter 32, Unexpected Gains. Logically speaking, with Lusu's wisdom and character, he wouldn't be so excited. It's just that the role of this passage is too great. It made him a little out of control. As long as you occupy this passage, you will have the advantage of time and place, and you will have the initiative. You can attack when you advance and defend when you retreat. From now on, you don't have to worry about the safety of the territory, which is the rear area, for a period of time. But it will take more than 1 or 2 days to find the passage, so you can only wait patiently. After Lusu waited for Yang Song to finish talking about this matter, and seeing that the Lord had nothing else to do, he stepped forward and said, Lord, I wonder if there is a military rank system in the territory? Military rank system? Is it a military hierarchy system divided into non-commissioned officers, second lieutenants, colonels, and lieutenant generals? Yang Song asked curiously. Lusu affirmed, yes, that's not the case. Before you came, the territory only had an army of 1,000 people. There is no use for this. Yang Song explained. That's true. Lusu thought about it and felt that it would be better to say it directly, saying, in fact, there are military ranks in the infantry brigade. If the territory does not have it, do you think it should be abolished? Oh, really? Tell me. Lusu successfully aroused his curiosity. Lusu calmed down, as if organizing his words, and said, I will speak from high to low. After seeing the Lord nod, he continued. Brigade Commander D is a Major General. There are 4 levels of general ranks, Major General, Lieutenant General, General, and General. After Lusu introduced the General's rank, he smiled and said, therefore, it is not an exaggeration to call Brigade Commander D a General. D. As a subordinate, I have to be 1 level lower, and add the rank of Colonel. Deking, who was standing aside, saw Yang Song looking at him, so he touched his head embarrassedly and said, whether to be a general or not is entirely decided by the Lord, so don't tease me, Lu, the staff officer. Yang Song turned around and smiled, and said to Lusu, haha, continue, Colonel Lu. Is this considered to be an acknowledgement of the military rank system? As you command. Lusu ignored the Lord's teasing and continued to explain. Below the general is a lieutenant, also known as the school level, which has 3 levels, namely major, lieutenant colonel and colonel, and these 3 levels belong to the middle level officers. Below the lieutenant is the captain, also known as the lieutenant level, which also has 3 levels, namely second lieutenant, lieutenant, and captain, and these 3 levels belong to the low level officers. Lusu continued, after talking about the military ranks of military officers in one breath. Below the officers are non-commissioned officers. Non-commissioned officers are not officers, but professional soldiers. Non-commissioned officers are divided into 6 levels, namely corporal, sergeant, staff sergeant, 3rd class sergeant major, 2nd class sergeant major, and 1st class sergeant major. Below the non-commissioned officers are soldiers, and soldiers also have military ranks, which are divided into 3 levels, private strong soldier, and sharp soldier. In fact, if you insist, there should be 4 levels of soldiers, that is, there is also a 1st class recruit, but as long as the soldiers go through 3 months of recruit training, they will become privates, so there is no such level in the military rank. Lusu did not keep people in suspense, and said everything he had always wanted to say at once. Good. Okay, the army of the territory will implement this military rank system in the future. I thought about it, and there are benefits to implementing it earlier. At least the framework has been built, and the army will implement the military rank system sooner or later. If it is implemented now, we only need to grant military ranks to another 1,000 people, which won't take much effort. Yang Song was very happy after hearing this, and decided immediately. However, it still needs to be discussed before granting military ranks to another 1,000 people. At least there should be an organization like a regular infantry brigade. It is impossible for all cavalry to be under the management of Zhao Wu and infantry to be under the management of Zhang Wei. Only a complete combination like an infantry brigade can be like an army. Yang Song thought about it carefully and asked, how many soldiers are there in a regular infantry battalion? He couldn't remember it so clearly and in detail. My lord, a regular infantry battalion has a total of 1,100 people. It includes a regular formation, a long-range formation, an artillery battalion, a siege battalion, and a light cavalry battalion. The battalion has 27 field guns and 18 siege guns. The light cavalry battalion has a total of 108 people. Lu Su was really familiar with the organization of infantry brigades, and he replied without thinking. Tell me more in detail. Yang Song thought about it, and asked Lu Su to explain it in more detail. Yes. Lu Su replied, there are 9 battalions in the whole battalion. The regular formation is divided into a close combat battalion, a heavy armored battalion, and a long-range attack battalion. The long-range attack formation is composed of 3 long-range attack battalions. Counting the other 3 separate battalions, it is organized into a regular infantry battalion. Each battalion has 108 people, but after counting the formation headquarters of the 2 formations, each formation has 350 people, plus the battalion headquarters of 50 people, so the entire battalion, including the battalion commander, has exactly 1,100 officers and soldiers. Lu Su thought about what else he needed to add, and said, by the way, the close combat battalion and the regular formation is divided into 3 squadrons, a sword and shield squadron, a spear squadron, and a heavy infantry squadron. The whole battalion has 4 long-range attack battalions. Each battalion has 2 strong crossbow squadrons and a crossbow squadron. Each squadron has 36 people, and each squad has 12 people. Lu Su thought about the issue of the military rank system and said, the battalion commander is generally a lieutenant colonel, with a major simmer as an assistant. The leader of the formation is a captain, with a lieutenant as his deputy. The captain is a lieutenant, the squadron leader is a second lieutenant, and the squad leader is a non-commissioned officer. Lu Su's introduction was detailed enough. Okay, I got it. Thank you for your hard work, Zijing. I didn't expect that there are so many tricks to organizing a simple infantry battalion. It's a good thing you can remember them. Yang Song praised Lu Su. It's nothing, it's just my job. Lu Su said modestly. Zijing, do you think the other 1,000 people are suitable for organizing into a regular infantry battalion? Yang Song still valued Lu Su, a wise man, so he asked for his opinion, and wanted to hear his opinion. Lord, I learned that there are 300 cavalrymen, 300 archers, and the remaining 400 spearmen among the 1,000 people. I wonder if it is correct. Lu Su had to obtain information before giving his opinion. Yes, 300 cavalrymen are under the command of Zhao Wu, and 700 infantrymen are under the command of Zhang Wei. Therefore, I appoint Zhao Wu as the commander of cavalrymen and Zhang Wei as the commander of infantrymen. But now it seems that this simple organization is very problematic. Yang Song replied affirmatively. Then, please forgive me for my overstepping of authority, Lord. Yang Song did not expect Lu Su to apologize before giving advice, and replied with a little curiosity. Nothing, Zijing, just say it. Thank you, Lord. After thanking Yang Song for his generosity, Lu Su said directly, I suggest that these 1,000 people be organized into an infantry battalion. In addition, I learned that the Lord actually only has 10 guards, so I dare to suggest that your guards be expanded to 300 people. Oh, that's right, Zijing, you are doing this for my own good, I know it, how can I blame you? Yang Song thought it was something else. It turned out to be a suggestion for him to expand the guards. Chapter 33 Special Discovery. The Monarch's Guard is an army that protects the monarch's safety. If Lu Su, an outsider, makes suggestions, it would be very interesting if it was in the eyes of someone with ulterior motives. Yang Song thought carefully and knew what Lu Su was worried about. But he was not afraid. If Lu Su had bad intentions, there was no need to go through so much trouble. Well, I accept your suggestion. I will reorganize these 1,000 people after the passage is completed. Although Yang Song also wanted to do it immediately, the most important thing at the moment was to find the passage. Until the 6th day, Yang Song was looking at the progress of the cavalry's exploration on the small map in the mansion, and the guard came to report. Lord, Lu Su, the Lu staff officer, is asking for an audience outside the door. Zijing, please come in quickly. Yang Song heard that it was Lu Su who came and asked the guard to come in quickly. Let Zijing come to the study. By the way, let Xiaolan make a pot of tea. Yes, I will do it right away. After receiving the order, the guard left the study and went down to pass the order. After a while, footsteps were heard in the corridor. Bang bang, this subordinate Lu Su, I'm here to see the Lord. Yang Song greeted outside the door. It's Zijing, come in. Yang Song stood up from behind the desk and walked towards the reception room on the side. Creak, I wonder what Zijing wants to see me for today. Yang Song asked first, after everyone sat down. Lu Su sat on the chair, turned sideways and bowed to Yang Song. He said, Lord, I'm here to find the passage. Oh. Yang Song quickly straightened up and asked excitedly, Zijing, do you know where the passage is? Where is it? Tell me. Ahem, Lord, you misunderstood. Lu Su heard Yang Song's excited questioning and coughed twice in embarrassment, explaining, it's also my fault that I didn't explain it clearly. I don't know where the passage is, but in order to find it faster, I came to see the Lord and ask some questions. Oh, that's it. Yang Song heard Lu Su say that he misunderstood him and he didn't know where the passage was. Disappointed, then what do you want to ask? Does the Lord have a map of the northern mountainous area? Lu Su originally asked him for a map. Yes, but only a part of it is drawn in places that have been explored by cavalry. Yang Song replied. Lu Su said that looking at the map can speed up the process of finding the passage. But Yang Song has been looking at the small map for so long and still can't find how to speed up. After thinking about it for a while, it's true. If I can't see it myself, can't others see it? Bang bang, Lord, Xiaolan is here to serve tea. Xiaolan knocked on the door frame twice outside the gate. The door was open and whispered to Yang Song, who was sitting inside. The crisp and clear voice, like a long drought meeting a sweet rain, moisturized the hot heart. Yang Song smiled at Xiaolan, who was wearing a light blue dress outside the door, and said softly, come in. Lord, tea. Xiaolan took out a cup of tea from the round plate in her hand and gently placed it in Yang Song's hand. HMM. Yang Song hummed lightly and looked at her with a smile. Xiaolan smiled slightly and turned around. She gently picked up another cup of tea and slowly placed it on the tea table next to Lu Su. Thank you for your hard work, Miss Xiaolan. Lu Su took a sip of the tea, nodded to Xiaolan, and said thank you. Mr. Lu, you are too polite. Xiaolan bowed her head slightly, hugged the round plate with both hands, and bowed to Yang Song at the top. Xiaolan, goodbye. She took 2 steps back, turned left, and walked towards the door, as if floating out. In the blink of an eye, she turned around the edge of the door and disappeared. Lord, you are so lucky. Miss Xiaolan is beautiful, smart, graceful, and gentle. Lu Su smiled and joked to the Lord, who was in a trance at the top. Drink your tea. Yang Song waved his hand at Lu Su unhappily and stood up. Wait a minute, I'll get the map for you. After saying that, Yang Song walked towards the inner room of the study. Because Yang Song's small map was only visible to him, in order to reflect the information in the small map, Yang Song studied how to draw maps very seriously. In the end, I don't know how many papers and pens were wasted before the small map was extracted on paper. It can be said that, although the maps drawn by Yang Song are not formal, there is no scale, reference to land features, etc. But such a complete bird's eye view map, drawn realistically in the form of a painting, is a treasure. If it weren't for finding the passage, Yang Song didn't want to take it out. It's not that he doesn't know the function of the map, but he has asked scholars to copy it. He has saved the original version he drew. Who knows if it will be a national treasure in the future. Snickering, after searching for a while, he found the map of the north. Yang Song came out with a roll of maps and asked, shouldn't the map be distributed? Why did you come to me for it? Really? I didn't receive it. Who should I ask for the map later? Lu Su asked curiously. Oh, that's right. You've only been here for a few days. There are many things you need to get familiar with slowly. Yang Song remembered that he had once told them that these maps could not be used casually. The most important thing was that they were too accurate. Zijing, you can go to the library to ask the administrator inside. Knowledge materials such as maps are all stored in the library. After Yang Song answered, he said solemnly, remember, after getting the map, don't copy, lose or damage it at will. I obey your order. Lu Su received the order seriously. As a brigade staff officer, he must also know the importance of maps. They are strategic weapons. Yang Song spread the map on the long table and told him, this map is incomplete and has no scale. Although the map you get from the library later has a scale, the information is not as complete as this one. Zijing, don't leak it after you read it. I obey your order. I still save the priorities. Lu Su replied. As the map slowly unfolded on the long table, a picture of mountains, rivers in the country jumped out of the picture and came into view. Although there is only a map of the northern mountainous area, all the places that have been explored are fully and clearly reflected on it, just like opening a god's perspective, although it is an ink painting style version. Lu Su was really shocked when he looked at this map. I didn't expect that the map could be drawn into a painting. And it's so real. I really didn't expect it. Clear mountains, valleys, and streams, forests, and rivers, boulders and cliffs, roads and paths are all there. All are clear. Haha, thank you for the compliment. Don't sigh anymore. Come and see where there may be a passage. Yang Song smiled heartily. This effort was not in vain. I'll take a look. Lu Su stared at the map and looked at it carefully without even raising his head. Suddenly, the study room became surprisingly quiet. Yang Song sat on the chair and looked up at the sky. In fact, he was checking the small map, and Lu Su frowned and looked carefully in front of the long table. Was it a while? Or how long? Anyway, the quiet atmosphere was broken. Chapter 34 Intelligence Information. Lord, I wonder if the terrain in this map is different from the actual terrain now? Lu Su looked up, his eyes shining, and asked expectantly. Wait a minute, is there any difference? Let me take a look. Seeing Lu Su like this, Yang Song was shocked. Hearing him say that there seemed to be some differences, he quickly compared the terrain on the small map. Yang Song stepped forward and looked at the map carefully, and then compared the small map. Slowly, Yang Song also frowned and said, hey, why is this small hill gone? Why is this stream gone? And this river has changed its course. What's going on? Lord, if I'm not wrong, then do these places that have changed have something in common? Lu Su was even more confident after hearing Yang Song's surprised words. What is the common point? Yang Song raised his head curiously, looking at Lu Su, waiting for his next words. Lu Su did not keep him in suspense and said directly, are these places with changed terrain connected into a line, as if they are leading to one place? Hearing this, Yang Song also thought of something and suppressed his inner excitement and looked carefully at the map. Sure enough, from the hills in the north to the depths of the northern mountains, there are more or less terrain changes. All the way to the junction that has not been explored, there are changes. The territory only has an industrial town in the northwest in the north, so it is no wonder that these terrain changes have not been discovered. Moreover, the earthquake a few days ago also frightened the people in the territory, and it is even more impossible to go deep into the dangerous mountains at this time. Therefore, no one found it until Lu Su came. As for why the cavalry sent out has not reported yet, it is unknown. Thinking of this, Yang Song said to the outside of the door, come here. I'm here. The guards outside the door came in and clasped their fists waiting for orders. Go and call Zhao Wu. Yang Song decided that instead of thinking too much, it would be better to find someone to ask for clarity. Let him bring the map of the north. I obey your order. The guards took the order and went out to pass the order. Lord, it seems that if we follow this line, we will definitely find a passage. Seeing that Yang Song had proved his conjecture, Lu Su breathed a sigh of relief and was a little hesitant to speak. Just what? Just say it, if you have something to say. Yang Song was very annoyed by this behavior of wanting to say something, but not saying it, and speaking halfway. It's just that I'm worried that this phenomenon is not only in our territory. Seeing Yang Song's expression, Lu Su hurriedly said, it is possible that there is such a line on the other side of the mountain range. Yang Song was shocked when he heard this. Lu Su's worry is not groundless, and with the characteristics of the system, it is reasonable to have such a situation. The most important thing is that it is completely unclear what kind of world is on the other side of the mountain range. If someone discovers the existence of the territory one step ahead, then the territory will be in danger. But it is not urgent enough for Yang Song to immediately issue an order for all personnel to prepare for war. After 3 years, at least it has been proved that the humans in this world have no high technology, at least no airplanes. There are no special abilities either. This is because there are no magical creatures that can spit fire and electricity in the deep mountains and old forests. The most common ones are ordinary beasts, but the types and appearances are different from before. Speaking of creatures, Yang Song has been in this world for 3 years and has not seen any large animals with 6 legs, but he has seen quite a few legless mollusks. The species are similar to the previous ones: insects, mammals, cold-blooded creatures. In the end, it's still a question of appearance. Sorry, why do I feel heartbroken when writing this? But the Lord doesn't have to worry too much. We have such an accurate map, but we didn't find it until now. The people on the other side shouldn't be so fast. Lu Su comforted. I hope so. Yang Song was relieved a little after hearing this, and said, even so, we have to find the passage quickly, so that we can feel at ease. The Lord is right. Lu Su agreed. If Lu Su didn't know the importance of the passage, he wouldn't have rushed to Yang Song so quickly. As soon as he found something, your subordinate Zhao Wu, see the Lord. At this time, Zhao Wu came and stood outside the door and said, not only the Lord summoned me for something important. Zhao Wu was in the military camp sorting out the situation reported below. After hearing the Lord summoning him, he took the map and prepared to leave the camp. As soon as he walked to the door, he thought about what he had thought of. He turned around, picked up a few pieces of intelligence, and put them in his pocket, and took them to the Lord's house to meet the Lord. Come in. Yang Song waved his hand to let him in, and said, not only what happened in the past few days, but also what did the cavalry who went out to explore report. Zhao Wu felt that Yang Song's tone was a little wrong, and he didn't dare to say anything else. He replied, I have been sorting out intelligence these days, and there has been no other news. The latest reply from the cavalry, who went out to explore, just arrived this morning. Zhao Wu took out several intelligence letters in his arms, handed them to Yang Song with both hands, and said, Lord, please take a look. Yang Song took it expressionlessly, opened it, and found that it was about the terrain changes in a certain place. After a closer look at the location, he found that there was a mountain in a mountainous area in the north that split into 2 halves. The reply asked if this was the passage he was looking for. Yang Song checked the small map according to the location in the letter. After finding this location, he found that it was just a small mountain split to the left and right in the east-west direction. This letter arrived this morning, so where are the replies from a few days ago? This place is all inside the mountainous area, so where are the replies about terrain changes outside? Yang Song asked expressionlessly. The places where the replies were received were all deep in the mountainous area. He believed that there must be more information about terrain changes than the ones in front of him. Please forgive me, Lord. Zhao Wu was so scared when he heard this that he knelt on one knee and said in fear, at first, I didn't know that the information about terrain changes was so important to the Lord. At first, I thought it was caused by an earthquake and didn't take it seriously. Until today, when I saw this reply saying that a target similar to the passage was found, I realized that I had made a big mistake. Although Yang Song knew that the cause of the earthquake was the passage, he forgot to tell others. After hearing Zhao Wu's explanation, he understood their thoughts. Hey, Zhao Wu is not a professional intelligence officer. It's normal that he can't see the relationship between the two. Yang Song thought, so he said, get up. I didn't say I was blaming you. Remember to use your brain more in the future. Yang Song said kindly, take out the map. I'll draw a line for you, and you can explore along this line. Remember, report anything as soon as possible. Yang Song instructed. "Thank you, Lord. I obey you," Zhao Wu said gratefully. Zhao Wu took out the map and put it on the long table. The original map was put away by the cautious Lu Su. When Zhao Wu came in, Yang Song picked up the pen and drew a zigzag line on Zhao Wu's simplified version, without information about mineral resources. According to this small map, this line looks curved, but as long as you look closely, you will know that this line is already the best way to pass. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 35 Discovery Passage. Follow this route to find the passage, and continue to explore forward after finding it. If there is any situation, evacuate as soon as possible and report in time. Yang Song thought about it and said that, since the passage had been found, he would let the cavalry explore it first. "I'll go now." Zhao Wu clasped his fists to Yang Song, put away the map, and turned to leave. "Zijing, what do you think?" Yang Song asked Lu Su. Lu Su asked with a puzzled look on his face. "What is the Lord asking? What do you think of Zhao Wu?" Yang Song was very dissatisfied with Lu Su's pretending to be ignorant. "Lord, forgive me, I just feel that it's hard for me to say." Lu Su smiled and said, "After all, I have known Commander Zhao for a short time, and I feel that I can't make a complete evaluation of this." "Then tell me what you can think of now." Yang Song pressed. He felt that Lu Su was good in everything, but he was too cautious, and he was almost too cautious. "Then I will tell you what I saw." Seeing that he couldn't avoid it, Lu Su said carefully, "I hope you can forgive me if I didn't say anything right." Without waiting for Yang Song to continue urging, he said tactfully, "Commander Zhao is not a talented general, nor is he good at managing intelligence. He doesn't have information sensitivity. I think Commander Zhao is suitable to lead the guards under the Lord. He is brave and fearless. He is more than enough to be a fierce general to protect the Lord." "Are you saying that he should be the guards, to be expanded in the future?" Yang Song understood what Lu Su meant. Yang Song didn't wait for Lu Su to answer and continued thoughtfully, "And the reasons for transferring him are already made. The error in intelligence this time is the best reason. And Zhang Wei is a cautious person, calm in dealing with things, and he is familiar with military books in his spare time. He is really a talented general. The Lord is wise." Lu Su flattered him quickly. Yang Song didn't care about Lu Su's flattery. Recalling the scene when he went out and met two people 3 years ago, recalling the two people's work style and usual temperament over the past few years, suddenly, a flash of inspiration came to him. "Oh no, I didn't expect to be misled by inertial thinking." Yang Song thought, "At the beginning, I thought that the people who were arranged by the system to the Lord's mansion were capable and were talents prepared for him. I didn't expect to be wrong. In fact, it was not completely wrong. At least in the past 3 years, these people have played an important role in the development of the territory and their respective positions. I didn't expect that Zhang Wei was the talent prepared by the system to lead the army for me, and Zhao Wu was actually prepared for me as a guard from the beginning. Fortunately, there are no hostile forces in the territory, and it has not experienced war, so it has not been discovered until now. It's not too late to find out now." Thinking of this, Yang Song thought of the other 4 internal affairs talents. Are they not all prepared for internal affairs? It's just that there is nothing wrong with these 4 people now, so there is no way to judge. He is afraid that he thinks too much and takes it for granted. "Okay, after the passage is found, take back the exploration cavalry and reorganize the guards and the leading guards." Yang Song thought a lot, but in fact, only a few seconds had passed. Then he said, "Zijing, is the infantry brigade ready?" When Lu Su nodded and confirmed, he said, "Then let's go. The earlier we go, the earlier we can prepare. Just follow this route, and when you reach the entrance of the mountain, find a suitable place to set up a camp to meet the next engineering team." Yang Song officially issued the task. While talking about the task, he hurried to the study and wrote the order. He said, "I won't let General D come again. You will take the task and this order back to him later." "I obey the order." Lu Su took the order that Yang Song handed to him with both hands, and the ink was not dry yet. Yang Song actually wanted to go there in person to see what the outside world was like, but he was still very clear about his identity. He was a lord and monarch, a strengthened version of a gentleman not standing under a wall. This is what is called what you gain will lose. Lu Su returned to the barracks and handed the lord's task and order to Deking. Deking took it and read the order without saying a word and gave the order directly. Beat the drums and gather the generals. Yes, general. The personal soldiers outside the door responded straightforwardly. After a while, all the main officers of the infantry brigade gathered in the military tent. Deking ordered, the lord's order has been issued, and you all go and execute your assigned tasks. Yes, general. The 2 battalion commanders and 9 formation commanders stood up and received the order. Frontline battalion commander, write down the route on this map and march along this route after departure. Deking asked the regular battalion commander, who was the vanguard, to write down the route. Yes, general. The battalion commander was also straightforward. He took out his own map and drew it on the spot. After a while, general, I have already written it down. Well, go down and prepare. I believe you don't need me to say more about the rest. Deking was very confident in his subordinates. Yes, I'll take my leave. The battalion commander saluted and left the tent. After a while, the military camp became lively, with the noise of people and horses everywhere. In fact, this military camp is now completely occupied by the new infantry brigade, and even the military tent is occupied by Deking, while Zhang Wei and Zhao Wu can only find a side tent as their headquarters. There is no way. Who told them to have more people? Without strength, there is no right to speak. Since the arrival of the infantry brigade, the presence of the 1,000 soldiers as predecessors has been quite low. Fortunately, they also know that the infantry brigade is only staying here temporarily, otherwise it would be normal for the soldiers of the 2 armies to have some conflicts. Soon, not long after, the vanguard camp broke camp and left the city. The others will set off in a few hours. Deking and Lu Su looked at the soldiers who were packing up the big tent. Deking asked, Colonel Lu, where is the passage? Isn't it found yet? Why are you setting off now? Don't wait until you find it. Seeing Deking's puzzled look, Lu Su replied with a teasing tone, the passage? Didn't it find it? If you find it, you should definitely set off. The passage has been found? Where is it? Why don't I know? Deking heard Lu Su's answer, and his face was full of questions. Ha ha ha, far away in the sky, yet close at hand. Lu Su couldn't help laughing. He said, it's better to wait for the general to find it himself. After answering Deking, Lu Su laughed and went out. Deking looked at Lu Su leaving the tent in confusion, and then thought about what Lu Su had just said to him, and his eyes fell on the map hanging on the wall. Seeing the extra line, he suddenly realized it. He also laughed and said, this Lu Zijing, it's true. Isn't this far away in the sky, yet close at hand? Will I eat less if I say it directly? When Lu Su drew this line in the Lord's mansion, he knew that the passage had been found, and then Yang Song also knew it. So Yang Song didn't wait any longer, and directly ordered the army to set off. Chapter 36, Mobilizing the People. Yang Song sat in the study, looking at the small map. Ever since Deking and Lu Su led the infantry brigade to the north, he would watch their progress every day. He also hoped that the infantry brigade could reach its destination quickly, but the reality was that this matter could not be rushed at all, so he could only spare some time every day to pay attention to it. Alas, this world has no satellites and no phones, which is really inconvenient. It's still too slow to rely on pigeons to transmit information. Yang Song was most annoyed about this. The pigeons have been domesticated for a while, and they were obtained from the batch of strategic materials rewarded by the system. Each cavalry team that went out to explore has 2 pigeons. And this time Deking and his team also brought a lot of troops. The materials and engineering team prepared by Yang Song are also ready, and they will set off tomorrow morning. But he still can't go. The second team of engineering teams is led by Li Ji of the Military Industry Bureau. He will build a pass at the entrance of the mountain range, and build a pass that is more solid than Shanhaiguan and Hulaiguan. The construction team formed during the period of public ownership in the territory lost a group of skilled workers after the implementation of private ownership. Now, they are mobilized and recruited back because of the need to build a passage. This time, not only these construction workers, but also most of the people in the territory are mobilized. Because the territory is still in a semi-militarized state, all the young and strong people in the territory have to undergo military training during the slack season, that is, militia. This is a time when they are needed to contribute. This time, they are not asked to go to the battlefield, but to build roads and bridges, transport materials, and use all the strength of the territory to open up this passage. You know, with the productivity of this era, without various engineering machinery, whether it is building roads and bridges or building passes, it is a big project, and it cannot be completed overnight. Under Yang Li's propaganda, this is an action that concerns the life and death of the entire territory. In the middle of the Apocalypse Square in front of the Apocalypse City Council Hall, a temporary high platform was built. Yang Li personally stood on the high platform, holding a tin horn in his hand, and shouted at the people who came to watch from the audience. People of Cheyenne Key City, elders and fellow villagers, the Lord's mobilization order has been issued. The Lord wants every household to send a young man to build roads and bridges in the north. Some elders and fellow villagers will ask, why do we have to go to the north to build roads and bridges? Yang Li stood on the stage and spoke clearly, using easy to understand words to express the people's thoughts. Yes, why? Why do we have to build roads in the north where no one lives? If we have to build roads, we should come to our village. That's right, the road between our village and the next village has not been built yet. The people watching below felt very sympathetic after hearing this, and asked again and again. The scene was chaotic, and in the end, no one could hear what was being said. Don't worry, I will tell you now why the Lord wants us to go to the north to build roads in Chankakari. Yang Li comforted. Seeing the noise gradually subside, he continued, of course, this is for us ordinary people. Why is it for us ordinary people? Of course, there is a big hole in the mountain in the north. The people on the other side look fierce and ferocious. I don't know if they are good people, and the Lord wants to build a wall on the big hole to stop those people from coming over. Do you think we should build this wall? Yang Li guided the people. Oh, really? Is it more terrible than the wild men in the south? Then we must build a wall. What if we can't stop them? Okay, the wall must be built, so we must build a road first. Think about it, the mountain is in the deep mountains and old forests, and the big hole is also there, so if you want to build the wall there, you must have a road. Do you know, there was an earthquake a few days ago. Yang Li saw that the people in the audience were completely attracted by what he said, and continued, that's God helping. Most of the people in the audience didn't believe this. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, Yang Li himself wouldn't believe it. The Lord once told him that, if you want the people to believe what you say, you must first believe it yourself. Otherwise, how can you convince the people? Sincerity is the most important thing. So what Yang Li said now is true. He said to the people who were arguing again, don't disbelieve it, it's true, God is helping us. Then how did God help us? Yang Li really wanted to give a big red envelope to the person who asked this question. If he didn't know that he didn't find a shill, he would have thought that this was a shill. This fellow asked a good question. How did God help us? I'll tell you how to scare you. That is, Yang Li deliberately dragged out his voice when he said this, and after the people stretched their necks to wait for him to speak, he continued. That is, God helped me open a road. We just need to level it and build a few bridges, and the road will be repaired. As soon as the voice fell, the people in the audience suddenly made a commotion. You're lying. Yes, it's obvious as soon as you hear it. Liar. Hey, don't you know me? Who told you that you wouldn't be taxed for 3 years of land reclamation? It was me. Who told you that those wild men in the south came to kill people? It was me. Who told you that the Lord was going to give you money and distribute houses? Who was it? It was me again. You don't believe me anymore. Yang Li said this with an angry expression on his face, and it was unclear whether it was real or fake. After he finished speaking, He saw that the people in the audience didn't say anything and continued, "Tell me, what's the benefit of me lying to you? My food and shelter are all provided by the Lord, and you are the same as me, with food and shelter all provided by the Lord. Now that I'm asking you to work, you don't believe it." Yang Li also took advantage of the topic on the stage. "Mr. Yang, how could we not believe you, don't you think?" It was the people who asked the question just now who first affirmed Yang Li. Hearing this, Yang Li began to doubt himself, wondering if he really had someone to help him. Yes, we believe Mr. Yang, who just said that Mr. Yang is a liar. This is a very shameless citizen. Yang Li still remembers that he was the one who called him a liar the most. Now he is acting as if nothing has happened and not caring about his own business, which really makes Yang Li admire him. Haha, okay, I don't care whether you believe me or not, you will believe it when you see it with your own eyes. Yang Li concluded on the stage. Starting tomorrow, the territory will summon you. You must obey the arrangements. Bring tools to the north to build roads. The propaganda and mobilization in Shianqi City is actually not limited to this square. Other villages and towns also have people from their propaganda bureau to carry out propaganda and mobilization. According to statistics from the Civil Affairs Bureau, which manages civil affairs and household registration, the entire territory can mobilize nearly 10,000 young and strong people. I didn't expect that the number of words in the 2 chapters today is exactly the same. Chapter 37, People's Power. Starting from the second day, groups of people gathered opposite the North City River of Shianqi City. These people will enter the northern mountainous area in batches for construction. The first batch of people lined up on the avenue in the north of the city under the management of officials, just like the usual military training. The difference is that this time there are no weapons in their hands, only various tools. Hoes, steel drills, sledgehammers, wheelbarrows and other various tools are all provided by the people themselves, and the territory only needs to provide food. As the first ray of sunlight from the east shines on the earth, this group of people also set off. These people will be divided into several teams. Each team will be responsible for the construction of a section of the road, and multiple sections will be carried out simultaneously, which will speed up the progress of the project. Fortunately, this passage only needs the people to level it, fill the pits that need to be filled, and widen the widened ones. Finally, it is completed by rolling and compacting with a large stone roller. In addition to the construction of the pass, the entire project only needs to build bridges across a few rivers, which is the most time-consuming part of the entire project. As for the cement road, it is only a thought now. The construction of the pass is expected to use up all the cement production in the territory. Wang Dan is a worker in the arsenal and a foreman leading a team of civilians. He had experience in building the bridge outside the North City, so this time he was appointed as the foreman of a team of more than 100 people. "Wanda, how many days do you think we will have to work for?" said a man next to him. This man was his neighbor, and also a worker in the arsenal. His name was Li San. This time he was assigned to a team as his deputy. "Li San, you don't want to work anymore. You've only been here for 1 day." Wanda was a little dissatisfied with Li San. He liked to slack off at work, and was not serious. "Wanda, Foreman Wang, how could I not want to work? Isn't this a break?" Lee Sin rested his hoe with both hands, his chin on the back of his hands, looking leisurely. "You kid, I don't know you yet. Hurry up and work. There's a pit over there. Go over there and dig some soil to fill it up." Wanda frowned and pointed at a small pit behind Lee Sin and said seriously, "Okay, you are the foreman and you have the final say." Lee Sin stood up slowly with a reluctant look on his face, picked up the hoe, and walked slowly to the place where he was digging. "I'll let you be lazy." Wanda couldn't stand it anymore, so he kicked him, and was discovered by Lee San. He dropped the hoe, and staggered forward for 2 steps. He was unstable and fell down. "Hey, what are you doing? Why are you kicking me?" Lee San stood up with his chest covered with pain, and complained to Wanda, "Let's talk it over nicely." Ha ha ha. The other people working nearby saw this scene and laughed. "What are you laughing at? What are you laughing at? Do your work." Lee Sin was also an old fox. Hearing that everyone was laughing at him, he shouted angrily to the surroundings. Wanda said at this time, "What are you yelling about? Go dig the soil quickly. Do you want to be kicked by me again? Lee Sin saw that Wang Da was really angry, so he picked up the hoe and went to work. Wang Da looked around and saw that the road was almost leveled. He said, Zhang, go and put the big stone mill on the horse. When it is finished, start grinding. Okay, Wan Foreman, I'll go right away. I'm not that kid Lee San. I'm very diligent, Zhang replied, and also mocked Lee San. After hearing this, everyone laughed again. Wan Da said to Zhang, stop talking and go quickly. Then he turned to the others and said, don't laugh, finish the work early and rest early. As for why such a naughty Lee Sin became the deputy, it was because, although Lee Sin was a little naughty and unruly, Lee Sin had a flexible mind, knew a lot of technology, and was not confused about major issues. Just like this time, when the territory mobilized the people, he was one of the first to respond. After a while, 2 horses dragged around boulder with a tow rope and rolled over. When Wang Da saw it, he said, those who have finished their work, help those who have not finished their work. Those who have nothing to do, can go to the side to prepare. Let's start rolling the road. The people sped up their work, and soon they all packed up their tools, and stood on both sides. Let's start rolling the road. Wang Da shouted, and Zhang led the horse towards this section of the road. The boulder roller rolled all the way, and the soft part of the road instantly dented. After the boulder passed, the people waiting nearby poured the prepared gravel and soil into the dented part. In this way, the boulder rolled repeatedly, and the road became more and more solid. When there were really no problems, this section of the road was considered to be repaired. A construction team of more than 100 people can repair 1 or 2 kilometers of road a day, and there are nearly 100 such construction teams. In total, more than 100 kilometers of road can be repaired a day. This is a very scary data. You must know that the entire passage has been explored now, and it is only about 200 kilometers to the entrance of the passage in the mountains. As long as this speed is followed, the construction of this section of road can be completed in 2 or 3 days, but the actual situation is not so ideal. The people are human beings, they will get tired, and it will take a day to rush to the next section after repairing a section of the road. So, after calculation, it will take about 10 days to actually complete this road. The bridge is calculated separately. Now all crossings are on the floating bridge built by the forward camp. The people did not complain about anything, and they all spontaneously accelerated the progress of the project. Even some of the weaker people were tired. After Yang Song learned about this situation, he asked Li Ji to formulate a perfect work and rest schedule, working when it is time to work, and resting when it is time to rest. Yang Song was very moved by the diligence and simplicity of the people. It must be said that the Chinese people have always been like this. Hard work has created a lot of wealth, but this wealth is often ruthlessly harvested. Yang Song secretly warned himself not to be dazzled by power and status, to always keep in mind the goal, not forget the original intention, and firmly remember why he is now so hard to develop the territory. Just as the system task said, he must bloom the dazzling light of the great Chinese civilization in the new world. The greatness of civilization is based on the happiness of every citizen. If the people are not happy, how can we talk about the word great? In this project, Yang Song was very satisfied with Yang Zhang's logistics management ability, whether it was the transportation of materials or the deployment of personnel. Li Ji was only responsible for the specific construction, the location of the bridge, etc., which would be equivalent to a chief engineer. In addition to 3 meals a day, other people also had appropriate monetary compensation, which was equivalent to the territory asking these people to serve a paid corvée. In fact, Yang Zhang and Qian Liang both suggested that it would be enough to just show their appreciation at the beginning, but Yang Song knew that the people's kindness in return must be compensated. Otherwise, it would be fine once or twice, but if it happened too many times, the people would sooner or later use up this kindness. At that time, it would not be so easy to ask the people to do anything. Chapter 38 Beyond the Pass. Half a month later, except for the original professional construction workers, other people returned to the territory and went home one after another. These construction workers will go to the entrance of the mountain to build a pass, and the bridge behind will be built after the pass is completed. The infantry brigade led by Deking has set up camp at the entrance of the mountain to prevent unknown enemies and send scouts to continue forward. The cavalry originally sent out has notified them to return to Cheyenne Key City. The entrance of the mountain is just like the mountain described in the letter that Zhao Wu showed to Yang Song. There is a crack in the middle. The difference is that both sides of the crack are neat and tidy, as if a god cut it with a magic knife. And the source of the earthquake is the entrance of this mountain. Yang Song didn't see it very wide from the small map, but as long as he zoomed in, he would know that this so-called gap is still very wide. The entrance of the passage is about 3 kilometers long and 1 kilometer wide, with cliffs on both sides. The sun can't see this gap for a few hours a day. This is simply an excellent place to build a pass. From the south of the passage, which is the territory, the terrain of the entire passage entrance is higher than other places, like a high platform inlaid with mountains. You have to go through a slope formed by a pile of collapsed rocks to enter the passage entrance. The same is true for the north side of the passage entrance. From the passage to the north, you have to walk through a slope that is a little steeper than the south to enter the ordinary ground plane. In this way, you can know that the entire mountain range should collapse from the middle to the north and south, but it has not collapsed completely to the bottom, and there is still a height of more than 100 meters above the ground that has not collapsed. But it is these collapsed rocks that are piled up into two slopes on the north and south sides, forming 2 roads, which facilitates the communication between humans on both sides. After Yang Song carefully looked at the terrain, he was a little happy in his heart. He didn't expect that this key place had not been occupied by the humans of this world, but was occupied by him. But Yang Song thought about it carefully, and it was right. He had a system prompt, but the humans in the north did not have a system prompt, so it was natural for him to occupy this key point. If there were no system prompts, who would have thought that an earthquake would actually form a passage connecting the north and south sides of the mountain range? No matter what others said to him, he would not believe it. Now this place has been occupied by the territory, and the roads have been built all the way to the upper part of the slope at the entrance of the passage. The construction site of the first wall of the pass is exactly at the junction of the northern entrance, and outside the wall is the northern slope. There is no need to dig deep for the foundation. The ready-made all-stone foundation, as long as the surface layer of gravel is cleared, the wall can be built on the mountain range. After the construction of this wall, it will be completely integrated with the entire mountain range. Coupled with a slope that is more than 1,000 meters long, this is an indestructible copper wall. Of course, this is just the planning and design now. Not to mention the copper wall, even the top layer of gravel has not been cleaned up. In the camp, where the infantry brigade was stationed at the entrance of the mountain pass, in the commander's tent, Lu Su said to Deking, "General D, should we send more people to the north to investigate? Keep investigating along the passage, and it would be best if we can find a city where human activities are." Staff Officer Lu, I have sent out all the light cavalry and scouts of the brigade. Even if we send more people, it will be useless. Deking comforted Lu Su, I know you are anxious, and so am I now. We don't know who is the enemy, and we don't know what to do next. Lu Su is usually such a steady and calm person, but there is a reason why he is so impatient now. Not long after they arrived at the entrance of this passage, the territory cavalry recalled from the front received a message. That is, they found traces of human activities, an abandoned village. After Lu Su asked the cavalry to mark the location of the small village on the map, they found that the abandoned village was not far from the mountains, only more than 10 kilometers. This scared Lu Su a lot. Doesn't this mean that the humans in this world are not far away from them? So Deking immediately sent more cavalry to explore in different directions, trying to get more intelligence as soon as possible. After several days of exploration, it was found that there were several abandoned villages within more than 10 kilometers. After a detailed investigation of these small villages, it was found that these small villages were completely ruins. Ren Zion was the captain of the light cavalry brigade. After the light cavalry led by him found these abandoned villages, he decided to check them out in person. He brought a small team of light cavalry to the abandoned village on the edge of the passage. Looking at the collapsed houses in front of him, and even the burnt wreckage, it was really desolate. Ren'Zan turned over and dismounted, led his beloved warhorse into the ruins, and said to his men, "Write down what I said." "Yes, Captain." The deputy next to him also turned over and dismounted, took out his notebook and pen and ink from the horse and prepared. Ren'Zan had no time to pay attention to these, squatted down, looked carefully at the destroyed wooden house in front of him, and said, "The damage time is within 1 month. The damage time is within 1 month." The deputy dutifully wrote down everything. From the clear traces around, we can see that this place was abandoned by people. Ren'Zan continued to explain. "There are traces of furniture and tools in the ruins of the house." He walked around and suddenly saw a different place in front of him. He walked over and saw many traces of wild animals and feces and said, "This is an animal shed." Ren'Zan walked out of the village and said to his men, "Clean up these ruins and see if there is anything buried underneath." Looking at the messy fields outside the village, he said, "The humans here have planting and breeding industries. They are civilized humans." Ren'Zan was right. From these places, we can know that these humans already have a preliminary civilization, but we don't know what form of civilization it is. After a while, the men reported that they found some fresh corpses under some collapsed houses. He hurried over, looked at the 2 fresh corpses placed in front of him, squatted down and examined them carefully, saying, "These are 2 human corpses. They look similar to the savages in the south of the territory, but they are whiter and wearing a very rough set of clothes." Ren'Zan finally came to the conclusion, saying, "The people in these villages do not live as well as those in the territory, and their technology is not more advanced than that in the territory. The collapse of these houses should be caused by the earthquake some time ago, and the people here have already moved away." Ren'Zan looked at the evacuation direction of the people in this village, holding a horsewhip, with his hands behind his back, and his eyes were very deep against the background of the sunset. There should be a relatively powerful force over there, so that these homeless and frightened people can go there for shelter. Far away in the direction where Ren'Zan's eyes were looking, a group of ragged refugees were queuing with their families. Among the refugees, who were undergoing entry inspection, a young girl suddenly turned her head and looked in the direction she came from. Chapter 39 Castle Chronicles. The young mother holding the little girl asked her lovingly, "Zio, what are you looking at? It's our turn to be inspected soon." The young mother tilted her head to look at the city gate in front of her. There were 2 mottled wooden doors and a 3-meter high stone wall, which was full of traces of time and wind and rain. The little girl looked up and asked, "Mom, where are we?" "Zio is hungry." Zio said, covering her stomach with her small hands. "Zio is hungry. Wait, when we enter the city, Mom will find you something to eat, okay?" The young mother squatted down and gently comforted her child. "You two, come here for inspection." The guard yelled at the mother and daughter, "You are dawdling. Do you still want to enter the city?" "We have to enter the city. We have to enter the city. We will come right away." "Sorry, sir, the child is hungry." The young mother bowed and apologized to the guards again and again. "Hurry up, there are still many people behind." The guards seemed to be flattered by these civilians who kept calling them sirs. The mother and daughter received a simple checkup and then entered the city. The messy streets were full of feces and garbage, and it was unclear whether they were from humans or animals. The low wooden houses, uneven buildings, and the shouts from both sides made the mother and daughter very curious. "Mom, it's so lively here, and it smells so bad." The little girl forgot her hunger after entering the city, holding her mother's gentle but rough big hand and looking around, while covering her little nose with the other hand. The young mother looked around and stopped in front of a stall that looked like a sesame cake. She said to the boss, "How much is this black cake?" The boss was a middle-aged man, but his actual age was much younger than his appearance. The boss glanced at the mother and daughter and replied indifferently, "2 copper coins for a black cake." "Why is it so expensive? Wasn't it 1 copper coin for a black cake before?" The young mother's action of preparing to pay was completely stiff, and she asked the boss in disbelief. The middle-aged boss replied unhappily, "It's all because of you. You all ran into the city. The more people there are, the higher the price will be." The boss saw that the young mother in front of him seemed to want to say something, so he spoke in advance. I know it's not easy for you, it's not easy for everyone, and it's not easy for me either. Well, do you still want to buy? If not, just leave. This boss has seen a lot and knows the situation of these outsiders. Before the other party can say anything nice, he blocked the other party's words. The young mother suddenly didn't know what to say. She looked down at her young child and finally gritted her teeth, took out a few dark copper coins from her arms, and handed them to the boss. The boss took these copper coins, counted them, put them in his arms, and then picked up 2 black cakes from the stall and handed them to the other party. The young mother took the black cake, turned around and looked around. When she saw a small tree by the city wall and a few small stones under the tree, she took the girl's hand and walked over. Come, Xiaoru, let's sit here and eat. She first let her child sit on the stone, and then handed the bread in her hand to the little girl. Eat. The little girl took the black bread, and looked at her mother, and said sensibly, Mom, you eat too, let's eat together. Well, okay, you eat first, I'll eat later. Xiaoru is hungry, eat quickly. The young mother looked at the child's sensibleness, but her heart was very sad, but she couldn't show it. The family of 3 originally lived in a quiet and remote mountain village, working from sunrise to sunset. Although it was hard, and even wild beasts and the Lord's tax collectors came to disturb them from time to time, they could still survive. But an earthquake not long ago completely destroyed the peaceful life of this small mountain village. The young mother's husband was buried under the ruins, in order to save the 2 mothers and daughters. At that time, she felt that her sky was gone, and how would she live from then on? After her child's IOIUI came back to her senses from being stunned by the shock, and started crying loudly, the mother also felt that there was still a ray of hope and light in life. Although she lost her husband, the sky, and her home, she still had her child. Xiaoyui, don't cry, be good. She gently and tenderly stroked the child's head, and comforted the little girl. She herself was in tears, and had to hold back her tears. Mom, where is dad? The little girl held a straw man doll in her hand, her face full of tears, and choked up to ask her mother where her father had gone. Hearing her child's question, she couldn't help it anymore, and didn't answer, but just hugged the little girl, hugged her tightly in her arms, and burst into tears. The neighbors in the small mountain village looked at this scene, and didn't know how to comfort her. Moreover, they had lost their homes, and couldn't take care of themselves, let alone help others. Finally, she cried for a long time, and was tired of crying. After tidying up her mood, and wiping away her tears, she stood in the ruins and looked around. She didn't know where her future was, nor where to go, but she knew that she wanted her child to live. A young mother, a young child, and the confusion of being alone really overwhelmed this woman. Fortunately, she still had a support. Finally, at the suggestion of the neighbors, she followed them to the Lord's castle to escape. After a search, she did not find the body of the child's father, but only found some tools and some food. She took the tools, and harvested a few vegetables in the fields. She took all her belongings, and followed the neighbors on the road. The young mother felt tired when she recalled what she had experienced in the past few days. But looking at the child who was eating the delicious food, it made him feel that no matter what difficulties he could get through. Xiaoyui, come, here, there is more, eat slowly, eat full. The mother watched the child finish the black cake in his hand, and handed the untouched black cake in his hand to the child. Mom, don't you want to eat? Xiaoyui is full. The little girl stared at the black cake in front of her, but she said she was full. Half of the rough cake, the size of a palm, was not enough for a child. The child's mother knew it, so she kept it for her child. Eat it, Mom is not hungry. The mother looked at the sensible child, and felt that the softest part of her heart was touched. Are you really not hungry? Mom said that children who lie are bad children. Xiaoyui imitated the adults, which made her mother moved and laughed. Looking at the cute appearance of her child in front of her, the mother's tears were about to flow out again. She turned around and secretly wiped away the tears from the corners of her eyes. At this time, several sneaky men saw Xiaoyui and her daughter who were resting. They exchanged glances, and slowly touched over. Who are you? What's the matter? The young mother protected Zioi and asked the strangers vigilantly in front of the child. "Don't worry about who we are. What's the matter?" One of the leaders was a sturdy man with bare arms and a face full of flesh. He answered the mother's question, but the tone of his words made people know that he had bad intentions. "Ha ha ha, you woman, we are here to do good things." A thin man next to him said obscenely, "We see that you and your daughter are also fleeing to the city. How about we introduce you to a job? If you don't look at their expressions and actions, just listen to their words, it really seems like they are doing good things." What job? Although the young mother knew that the other party had bad intentions, she really needed a job to support herself and her children. Ha ha ha, she asked what job it was. The thin man seemed to have heard a big joke and laughed, and everyone else laughed too. "What job do you say? Besides selling meat, what other job is suitable for you?" The thin man's smile suddenly withdrew, and he said bluntly with an evil face. After hearing this, the young mother was mentally prepared, but she was still scared. But she turned her head and looked at the child who was holding her clothes tightly, as if she had made a decision. She turned back and said, "Okay, I'll go with you, but you can't hurt my child. She's still too young." "Don't worry, we are not interested in children." The man didn't expect the other party to really agree. He was stunned. He came to his senses and waved his hand and said, "But in order for you to cooperate, we have to separate you and your mother." After that, he didn't say much. He waved his hand and asked his men to take the little girl away. Mom, you bad guys, let me go. I want my mom. Mom." Zioi saw that she was taken away by these bad guys, and she cried loudly. The young mother also collapsed to the ground with a look of despair, covering her mouth with one hand and reaching for her child with the other hand. She didn't know how many tears she had shed. The crowd of people watching the excitement nearby also had numb faces. No one lent a hand to the mother and daughter in distress. Among them, there were also guards in the city watching the excitement. Since that day, the young mother has never seen her child again. Only the small handprints she got from the group of people every day proved that her child was still alive. She lived a life like a walking corpse every day. If it weren't for her child Ziaoru, she would have died long ago. Ziaoru is the only motivation for her to live now, and her wish now is to see her child again. She now works in a tavern and receives different men every day. Although she has no worries about food and clothing, for this mother, this is a life worse than death. There are other women in this tavern who live the same life as her, all of whom make a living by selling meat. Many women who sympathize with her tell her to give up the thought of seeing her child, comfort her, and ask her to live well. Although she knows that these people are doing this for her own good, her only hope now is really her child. In this way, the days passed one by one. 3,000 words at the beginning of the book. Chapter 40, Castle Curiosities. On this day, Zioi's mother looked at the new wooden sign in front of her. There was a small black handprint on the wooden sign. This wooden sign was the mother's motivation for survival in the next few days. Every day when she had free time, she would take out the wooden sign, hold it tightly in her hand, and stare at it without blinking, as if she loosened her grip or blinked, her child would never come back to her. The people who brought her to this tavern said that there would be a new wooden sign every 4 or 5 days. If she didn't cooperate, she would never see her child again. Now she could only hope that those people would keep their promise and keep her child from being hurt. "Yuna, come out quickly. Don't look at the sign anymore. There are so many strange people at the city gate." A charming voice sounded outside the young mother's door. "Annie, go ahead. Don't worry about me. I want to be quiet." The young mother replied without raising her head. "Yuna, what's it like to be locked up in the room all day? Come out quickly, or I'll go in and take you away if you don't come out." Annie was Yuna's only friend in this tavern. Anna's very sociable. Since she knew about Yuna's experience, she always took care of her. No matter what delicious food or new things she had, she would share them with her. Yuna also knew that Anne was doing it for her own good. In Anne's words, no one in this world has a good life now. Only the nobles in the castle can live a good life. We are a group of poor and helpless women. Since we can't be a lady, we can only live one day at a time. Anne was very open-minded, but Yuna knew that she was not as strong as she appeared on the surface. she also had her own concerns. It was precisely because of this that they had something in common, that they could easily become good friends. Once Yuna asked Anne what she was worried about, but Anne didn't say it. Just seeing Anne's silent expression, Yuna knew that this was the other party's inner wound, which could not be easily touched. Okay, Anne, wait a minute, I'll be out soon. Yuna remembered that the other party had always taken care of her, and had no choice but to go out. She still valued Anne as a friend very much. Yuna tidied up her clothes, wearing a rough linen dress, and put the wooden sign close to her body. She wiped her tears, opened the door and walked out, and accompanied Annie to the street to watch the excitement. At the city gate, two strange people riding strange horses were surrounded by civilians who were preparing to enter the city. These horses are a bit like the knight's wildebeests, but without horns. A young man pointed at the team of people and said curiously, "These strange people all have black hair and strange faces, but they look really good, better than everyone in the city." This is a noble lady in a white dress, looking at the team in front of her, her eyes shining. There are some other noble ladies and noble ladies beside the noble lady. At this time, another noble lady covered her mouth and laughed softly. "They are good looking, but I don't know if they are good in that aspect. Hahaha, you will know if you try it. Go." This is another noble lady teasing her, and other ladies seemed to be accustomed to these words, not shy, but joined in and laughed together. Renzan looked at the crowd watching at the city gate, and said to Chang Sun Sheng beside him, "Mr. Chang Sun, what are these people talking about? Why are they pointing fingers? They have no manners, they are really barbarians." Chang Sun Sheng touched his chin and said, "Captain Ren, those ladies over there are saying that you are beautiful and want to spend the night with you." Ha ha ha. He couldn't help laughing after he said that. This is really shameless. How shameless. It's really that you can't associate with barbarians. Renzan's face flushed immediately after hearing this, and he was so anxious that he didn't know what to say. "Captain Ren, you also know that they are barbarians and can't be reasoned with, so don't bother with them so much." After teasing, Chang Sun Sheng saw that Renzan looked shy, so he comforted him. "Besides, the monarch sent us here this time to gather intelligence. It would be best if we can communicate with the owner here. If we can't communicate, we should also get some information about the enemy, right? Mr. Changsun is right. I'm only responsible for your safety this time. Everything else depends on you. If you have any instructions, just tell me. I will do my best to cooperate." After saying that, he ignored the pointing of these people and calmly followed the knight who led the way. An hour ago. This time, Renzan led his brigade, a full 108 light cavalry, to accompany Mr. Changsun to this place, responsible for transporting gifts and protecting safety. More than 100 people appeared outside the south gate. After the guards found out, they hurriedly closed the gate and even locked out many people who didn't have time to enter the city. Fortunately, this team of cavalry showed no signs of attacking the city. Moreover, for this city, this is a south gate. There is no other territory in the south, only a high mountain range. The captain of the guards at the gate asked one of the soldiers to quickly inform the lord in the castle while he was preparing for defense on the city wall. At this time, the cavalry stopped when they were still some distance away from the city gate. The simple, neat and uniform movements and solemn expressions shocked the captain of the city defense and even frightened him. If a fight breaks out, how can we win? This is the captain's truest thought at the moment. Fortunately, there was no fight. Looking at the first rider in the team, he shouted to this side, "We are envoys from the southern country. This mission is to your country for the friendship between the two countries. I hope your city will open the gate and have friendly exchanges." "Wait, we will report it now. Don't move." The captain of the city defense also shouted to the outside, and after shouting, he said to the soldiers around him, "You hold on, I will report to the lord." After that, regardless of the soldiers next to him who wanted to speak but stopped, he hurried down the city wall and ran quickly towards the castle, where the lord was in the center of the city. Changsun Sheng and Renzan waited for more than an hour. In the castle in the center of this city whose name is still unknown, the old lord with white hair was listening to the soldiers' report that a large group of strange knights were invading the south of the city. When he was curious about what other territories there were in the south, The captain guarding the south gate came to see him again. "Tell me, what's going on? Why is there a group of knights in the south of the city? Why don't I remember there are other lords of territories in the south?" The lord sat on the throne and asked with a puzzled look on his face. "My lord, they said they came from the south, from a country called what, and they are here as envoys. I don't know what that means. They also said something about friendship and friendly exchanges between the two countries. I don't understand. Please don't blame me, my lord." After repeating what the other party said, the captain of the city defense said solemnly, "My lord, there are more than 100 knights on the other side. I was scared when I saw them, and they look very difficult to mess with. I think it would be best if we can avoid fighting." After saying that, he carefully raised his head and glanced at the lord who was sitting on the throne. He was afraid that the lord would blame him for being cowardly and afraid of fighting. Chapter 41. Castle Incidents. "Oh, really? Is the other side so powerful?" The lord sitting on the top also knew what his subordinates were like, but it was the first time that he was so scared just by seeing them. Seeing that the lord did not blame him, the captain explained with confidence, "Lord, you didn't see it with your own eyes. We were all shocked at the time. More than 100 knights under the city rode a strange horse without horns. All the knights were like one person, and all the movements were exactly the same. That feeling. After thinking for a long time, he couldn't find a suitable word to describe it. Isn't it unstoppable?" The lord couldn't bear to watch it anymore, so he prompted, Yes, it is unstoppable. The lord is still powerful. You know what to say without seeing it." The captain of the guards quickly flattered him. "Are you sure there are more than 100 knights?" The lord couldn't help asking. Although he knew that his subordinates didn't dare to deceive him, he really couldn't believe that there would be more than 100 knights. What a powerful force. There are only a few knights in his territory. As a remote territory at the southernmost end of human civilization, the lord has heard that some powerful lords in the middle of the continent have raised an army composed entirely of knights, but that is in the center of the prosperous and wealthy continent. In this remote place, his enemies are only the lords around him who are similar to him, and they only have 2 or 3 knights. The conflicts are mainly infantry, and no one dies every time. Everyone is a fellow villager who sees each other every day. The conflicts over the years are just to the extent that you steal my sheep and I steal your food. If you want to fight, you just take a group of farmers, hold dung forks, let the knights lead them, and fight with music and drums all the way. If you win, you can't steal anything, and if you lose, you can't lose anything." Now suddenly he is told that there is such a powerful territory around him. How can he not panic? After a while, the white-haired lord calmed down, recalled the report from his subordinates just now, and said, "Since they are here for friendly exchanges, they should not be here to fight. Besides, there is nothing worth stealing in our remote place." He ordered the captain of the guard, "Go and call them in, but only one person can come in. No, 2 people, otherwise I will be said to be too stingy. Tell them that others cannot get close to the city wall, and I will be waiting for them inside the castle." After the lord finished speaking, he moved his body, moved his buttocks, straightened his chest, and made his sitting posture more upright, as if this would highlight his majesty. "I'll go right away." Without saying a word, the captain of the guard turned around and walked out of the hall and immediately ran. Chang Sun Sheng looked up at the sky and shouted loudly in the local language to the soldiers, who were on high alert and extremely nervous at the city gate in front of him. Such a long time has passed. What was the response from the owner of this place? As soon as Chang Sun Sheng finished shouting at the city wall, he heard a head pop up on the wall and said to him, "Don't be anxious. The lord has replied, only 2 of you can enter the city. The others just wait there and don't get close." Ren Xian and Chang Sun Sheng looked at each other, and Ren Xian said, "Mr. Chang Sun, what do you think we should do about this?" "Haha, the people on the opposite side must be scared. It doesn't matter, just listen to them, and the 2 of us will go into the city." Chang Sun Sheng touched his chin and said confidently, "He is not a weak scholar. Captain Ren, you and I will take some gifts into the city, and the others will wait here." He looked at the low city wall in front of him and said thoughtfully, "It shouldn't be long before there will be a result." Chang Sun Sheng walked to the carriages in the middle of the team, selected a few small gifts from them, and handed one to Renzan. Let's go into the city. Renzan looked at the gift boxes in his hands, and said with a little amusement, "Sir, you are really an interesting person. As a diplomat, it is normal for Chang Sun Sheng to be informal and casual. If you are too rigid and stubborn, you can't be an excellent diplomat." The two rode their horses and slowly went to the city gate. When the two horses arrived outside the city gate, the guard saw that the knights in the distance did not move, so they ordered the city gate to be opened. The slowly opened city gate creaked, and after opening to a gap wide enough for one person, the two people outside the door could see clearly that there was a person behind the door, riding a horse with two horns, a short wildebeest, a fairly sturdy warrior, and simple equipment. This was the first impression the two had of this man. The two looked at each other again, and rode into the city gate together. "I'm the first knight under the command of the Lord, and I have been ordered to lead you to meet the Lord." After the knight finished speaking, he turned around and walked into the city on the wildebeest. "Thank you, sir." Chang Sun Sheng clasped his fists on the horse, although the other party was now facing away from them. As they got closer, they looked at the knight in front of them. He had a rough square face, a simple iron armor covering half of his chest, and a set of black, fairly exquisite robes inside. The wildebeest under him was short but still spirited. Renzan approached Chang Sun Sheng at this time and whispered, "What a barbarian. Extremely rude. Sir, you have a really good temper too. Haha, the other party is rude, but if I'm rude, wouldn't I be the same as these barbarians you are talking about?" Chang Sun Sheng was helpless with Renzan's straightforward temper. "What are you talking about?" The so-called first knight turned around and asked. Chang Sun Sheng answered the other party in the universal language of this world, and it was more standard than the other party. Just like the dialects in the past, in this remote place, the language still has the accent of this place. However, he used authentic Chinese to chat with Renzan, so of course the other party could not understand. Chang Sun Sheng replied in the universal language, "We didn't talk about anything, just saying that this city is really strong." He casually said something that was not sure whether it was a compliment or a sarcasm. "Your people are really enthusiastic. So many people came to welcome us." Chang Sun Sheng looked at the crowd of onlookers, and after teasing Renzan, he tried to test the knight in front. "Nothing, we are all here to watch the fun." After the knight said this, he seemed to have thought of something, turned around and said seriously, "Shut up. Just follow me quietly." The knight was thinking at this time, why did the Lord let him lead the way? He is the first knight in the territory. It is very embarrassing to lead the way now. Why didn't the Lord let the other knights come, but let him come? He was unhappy at the moment. If the Lord had not repeatedly told him not to fight, he would have wanted to beat the two men up. As for the knights outside the city, he thought they were just a group of low-class people in disguise. Look at the horses they ride. They have never been seen before. What's so powerful about them? When Chang Sun Sheng heard this, his originally smiling face suddenly disappeared. He didn't say much, as if he was very obedient. Seeing that Renzan seemed to want to ask something, Chang Sun Sheng raised his hand to signal him not to say more. Although Renzan was full of questions, he didn't say anything after seeing Chang Sun Sheng's expression. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 42, Castle Events. A group of people walked quietly on the street without any words. But the two looked around, looking at the situation in the city. Chang Sun Sheng looked and evaluated in his heart. The uneven stone-paved streets had not been maintained for a very long time. The streets with mixed people and horses were not divided into different uses. The ground was dirty and there was no drainage system. Look at the shops on both sides of the street. The simple wooden houses of different styles had no fire prevention awareness. The dirty streets and shops were full of flying and crawling rats and insects without any hygiene awareness. The sparse shops and customers showed that there was not much economic activity. The pedestrians on both sides of the street looked at the two people. Most of them were curious, and then numbly continued to do things. Few people were energetic, except for the ladies and young ladies who had just kissed Renzan. Suddenly, passing by a shop that looked like a tavern, Chang Sheng heard a few conversations that made him a little concerned. Annie, do you think my child Xiaoru is doing well now? Is she hungry? I'd better go back. I don't want to be outside. This was a woman's voice that made people feel sad as soon as they heard it. Yuna, those damn traffickers actually separated you and your daughter and sold you to this place. They are really inhuman. This is the voice of another charming woman with a more independent mind. Besides, you have already come out. Why are you going back? Are you going back to cry? Annie, thank you. You are really a good person. Okay. Thank you, and tell me to come out and take a breath. Don't stay in the house crying in front of a broken wooden sign all day. That's not a broken wooden sign. That's the handprint of my daughter Xiaoru. The sad woman said, as if she was about to cry. Yuna, don't blame me for saying it harshly. I still advise you to forget your child. You also know what you are doing now. What will you do if she finds out? At this time, the other voice was completely devoid of charm, only indifference and numbness. Hey, this is the fate of us lowly people. The merciful Mayan gods will bless her. Okay, look, is the person passing outside the weirdo that everyone is talking about? After hearing these words, Chang Sheng turned his head to look at the shop behind him and saw two women standing at the door of the shop. A woman was crying with her head down, holding a wooden sign in her hands. Another woman was supporting her, stroking her back, and looking up at this side. When Chang Sheng and the woman who seemed to be called Annie looked at each other, the woman seemed to be frightened and quickly lowered her head. The group walked farther and farther away, and they could vaguely hear the conversation behind them. Yuna, look, those two people look really strange, but they are so good looking. You can tell at a glance that they are noble lords. Annie, The rest of the conversation was no longer clear. If it weren't for the relatively quiet environment in the city and the lifeless people, he wouldn't have heard this unique conversation. Chang Sheng shook his head, and his evaluation of this city was lowered again. He also guessed what the two women did just now. The people's livelihood here is really in dire straits. Riding a horse through the long and narrow street, he saw a tall castle at the end. This tallness is relative to the low civilian houses. Built with the same stone strips as the city wall, the grey castle has about 2 floors from a distance. The 3-story stone tower style building with a pointed top is integrated into the southwest corner of the building. The narrow holes on the castle wall are orderly distributed around the upper floor. I don't know if they are windows or arrow holes. As I got closer, a dark brown wooden gate more than 3 meters high appeared in front of me. There was no moat, let alone a drawbridge. There was a small open space outside the gate, which could be called a square, and above the gate there was a balcony-like platform, which should be the place where the Lord gave a speech. This castle is more like a small manor with simple fortifications than a castle, and this city exudes a vulgar and corrupt atmosphere everywhere. It is really hard to imagine how the people here survive in such a place. Seeing the arrival of several people, the 2 guards hurriedly opened the gate, and one of the guards went into report. It seems that this was ordered in advance. After dismounting outside the gate, he tied the warhorse to a horizontal log on the left side of the gate under the demonstration of the knight, and then walked into the gate with the first knight. How come there is not even a servant, not even a groom to feed the horse? How does the Lord here live? Renzan couldn't help, but complained again and again. Haha, Captain Ren, since you found this small town, you should have been mentally prepared. There are no officials of all sizes who are conscientious and responsible in our country, nor a wise and powerful monarch. After hearing the complaints, Chang Sheng was very emotional. It's true that you don't know how good your own territory is if you don't go out. Behind the gate is a doorway that looks like a city gate. The passage is not very long, only 1 or 2 meters. This is the width of the city wall. Chang Sheng secretly noted it. After leaving the doorway, there is an open space behind, paved with stone slabs, intact, and completely incomparable to the ground on the street outside. There are some flower beds and supports on both sides of the open space. A few steps up is a corridor, which is connected to the left and right to form a half-circular corridor with a hole opposite. Keep going, walk up 2 tall steps, cross the corridor, and follow the first knight into the hall. My lord, the two guests have been led. The knight walked to the middle of the hall, clenched his right fist and lightly hit his left chest, half bent over and saluted to the white-haired old man sitting on it. Chang Sheng looked at the white-haired old man sitting on it. He was wearing a black robe with some patterns. The white robe covered his body. The silver throne he sat on was covered with something, which was a little reflective. He raised his hand and saluted. Chang Sheng, the envoy of Xia State, greets His Excellency the Lord. Ren Zhan also raised his hand and saluted with a fist like Chang Sheng, without saying a word, looking like a bodyguard. How dare you? You don't kneel when you meet the Lord. At this time, a middle-aged man in a white robe, who was in the lead of the two teams standing on both sides of the hall, shouted at the two people. Before Chang Sheng could reply, the white-haired lord sitting on the top said, "Don't be like this, York. They are envoys from the south. It's normal that they don't know these things. I forgive them." Chang Sheng raised his eyebrows, which meant that he was impolite. Judging from his appearance, he must have rehearsed it long ago, and was just waiting for this. While the other party was talking, he quickly looked around, and glanced at the people standing on both sides of the hall, and said, "I didn't know that as an envoy of a country, I have to kneel when I meet the master of your land. Moreover, even if I want to, I'm afraid that your lord can't bear it." Oh, then this lord wants to listen. Why can't this lord bear it? After hearing Chang Sheng's words, the white-haired lord called him this lord. He said it with great curiosity, and looked as if you would be in big trouble if you said it wrong. Chapter 43, Castle Talk. Chang Sheng shook his clothes, clasped his fists, and bowed to the white-haired lord, saying, "Lord, I'm the envoy of a country. I'm the envoy representing the monarch of my country, millions of people, and 100,000 soldiers. I wonder if your excellency can bear the anger of all these people after this envoy kneels down." Chang Sheng asked back, What are you talking about, envoy? I was just joking just now. How can you take it seriously? Ha ha ha." The white-haired lord was almost scared to death when he heard the numbers of millions of people and 100,000 soldiers. Of course, what Chang Sheng said must be a lie to the other party, just bluffing. Don't say 100,000. In fact, there are not even 10,000 soldiers. The crowd standing on both sides also started to discuss. Millions of civilians? 100,000 soldiers? Impossible. That's right, he must be a liar. It's really possible. The person who said this hurriedly explained, after seeing many people looking at him unkindly. "I heard that they brought more than 100 knights this time. Think about it, a territory with more than 100 knights can't be that small." Seeing that everyone around him was silent, the person who said this even puffed out his chest with a little pride. After hearing these discussions, Chang Sheng, who was in the middle of the hall, felt amused and helpless about this proud person. What are you proud of here? These are not yours. But in his heart, his evaluation of this place dropped several levels. Facing an unfamiliar force, instead of trying to figure out the other party's purpose and situation, you are frightened by the other party's words that you don't know whether to be true or false. What kind of talk is this? The most important thing is that the other party has already shown off their strength, but you are still playing the show of power trick and are still embarrassing the other party in order to highlight the small majesty of the lord of a small territory. Aren't you afraid that the other party will go back to lead the troops to attack the city in anger? What kind of brain is this? Fortunately, Chang Sheng is more generous and is mentally prepared for the cultural differences in foreign countries. But it still makes him laugh when he really encounters such a weird thing. I don't know if there is a real country in this world. So, in order to facilitate communication, Chang Sheng translated the Chinese word Xia into Chinese when introducing the Xia kingdom. "Okay, everyone, be quiet." The Lord spoke, and the people below quieted down, each standing in their own position with their hands tied. "Messenger, I wonder what's the matter with coming to my lord's territory this time?" The Lord asked a question that required a high IQ. "Your Excellency, this envoy is visiting your place this time for the sake of friendship between the two places and the conclusion of a friendship and trade agreement. For this purpose, I have specially prepared 2 gifts, and I hope you will accept them." Chang Sun Sheng actually prepared more than 2 gifts, and more than 2 carts. But this time he only brought 2 small items with him when he entered the city. Oh, there are gifts? Bring them to my lord. The white-haired lord didn't know if he heard what Chang Sun Sheng said clearly, but the way his eyes lit up when he heard about the gifts was very contemptuous. Chang Sun Sheng didn't care how the other party acted. In his heart, this lord was just a local rich man. Still the kind of landowner who has no vision, no ability, and no brains. Chang Sun Sheng took out a small gift box that he brought with him, and the other party's face full of expectations turned into a face full of disappointment. Oh, it's really unbearable, showing all the thoughts and ideas in your heart on your face. Chang Sun Sheng's inner thoughts were very real, but on the surface, he was not vague at all. Chang Sun Sheng personally stepped forward and presented it to the other party with both hands. The lord took it with one hand and immediately couldn't wait to open the gift box. Seeing a long and thin unfamiliar small object inside, he asked, "What is this?" "This is a brush, a tool for writing." Chang Sun Sheng replied, "Just dip the end with the hair into ink, and you can pick up the pen to write." Oh, it turns out to be a pen. The lord's last little expectation is now completely gone. He put the gift box containing the brush aside and said weakly, "What is the other thing?" Chang Sun Sheng didn't care either. He waved his hand and asked Ren Xian to bring up the gift he was carrying. Ren Xian saw Chang Sun Sheng's instructions, handed the gift box he had been holding to Chang Sun Sheng, and turned back to his original position. Chang Sun Sheng once again presented the gift in his hand to the other party with both hands. The lord took it without hesitation and opened it quickly. "Huh, this thing is so exquisite," he exclaimed after seeing the gift in the box, and took the gift out of the box with one hand. "Your Excellency, this is a crystal wine glass. This wine glass is transparent all over. Pour the wine into it, as if it is boiling and rolling in the air, and it is clear at a glance." Chang Sun Sheng blew a glass cup to the sky. The lord held the cup with both hands and played with it repeatedly. After hearing Chang Sun Sheng's praise, he hurriedly said, "Butler, bring the wine quickly, let this lord try it." Chang Sun Sheng was treating the symptoms. He first gave a brush to test whether the person had knowledge, and then gave a toy to test his character. Although he had expected it long ago. But to prevent the other party's performance, it might be pretended, although that is not possible. Just in case, it is not a big deal to have another argument. After all, diplomatic relations between 2 countries are not trivial matters. The white-haired lord poured wine into the glass, watched and played with it repeatedly, and the crowd below was amazed and praised it is really a good treasure. Chang Sun Sheng took advantage of the other party's high interest and asked, "I wonder what your name is, Lord?" "Oh, my name is Kevin Bill, just call me Kevin, my friends all call me that." Kevin's friends are not from anywhere, this is just to make it easier to ask for other treasures in the future. "Sir Kevin, where is your boss now?" Chang Sun Sheng asked tentatively. "Boss? Where did my boss come from? This lord is the biggest in this territory, and my lord has the final say. Why are you asking this?" Kevin asked with a little curiosity. "I'm just asking casually, in order to promote better exchanges between the 2 sides." Chang Sun Sheng perfunctorily answered, and then asked, "Please forgive my ignorance. How many people are there in Lord Kevin's territory? Are there other territories around? Are you asking how many untouchables this lord has? It's very pretentious, and not straightforward at all." After Kevin complained, he didn't have any other ideas and said directly, "This lord doesn't know either. Who will care about the lives of those untouchables? As for the surrounding lords, there must be some. There are 3 who are in contact with this lord, right? Why are you asking this? Do you have to give gifts too?" Kevin stared at Chang Sun Sheng. As long as the other party dared to say yes, he would dare to rob. As for the cavalry outside the city, he had long forgotten them. "No, no, this envoy gave all the gifts to you." Chang Sun Sheng waved his hands again and again, lying seriously. "By the way, I forgot to ask you, where are you from? Why did you come from the south? Isn't the south all mountains? How come there is a big territory?" Kevin asked this, and suddenly felt something was wrong. Chapter 44, Castle Wine. Your Excellency may not know that an earthquake not long ago created a passage in the middle of the mountain range. I came here through this passage. Chang Sun Sheng decided to tell the truth. Anyway, the two places would trade in the future, so he couldn't hide it. Oh, that earthquake? I didn't expect that a passage would be created by the earthquake. Kevin was also very surprised. If the two people in front of him were not standing in front of him, he would definitely not believe this. Yes, I'm also very surprised. This may be a gift from God. Chang Sun Sheng said truthfully, it is really a good thing to allow the two places to communicate. By the way, Your Excellency Kevin, on the way to your place, I saw many people who were displaced by the earthquake. I wonder how you will deal with it? Chang Sun Sheng suddenly seemed to think of something and asked, didn't this lord say that you would care about these untouchables? But without these untouchables, the taxes collected by this lord will be reduced, which is not acceptable. Kevin also remembered that these untouchables in his mouth were the source of his tax collection. York, go and inform these untouchables to go back to where they came from quickly. If the house is destroyed, they can't rebuild it. Go. Yes, my lord. The man named York bowed to Kevin and left the hall. Sir Kevin, I wonder if you have considered the conclusion of a trade and friendship treaty proposed by this envoy. Chang Sun Sheng was not like the other party. He still remembered the ultimate goal. Okay, I agree. Why are you asking so many questions? Kevin was a little annoyed by the other party's questions and said, don't leave today. This lord will host a banquet for you tonight. You must have a good time. Chang Sun Sheng looked back at Renzan. After a brief thought, he agreed, then this envoy is worse than respectful. But the guards brought by this envoy outside the city need to be repaired. I wonder if Sir Kevin will let them enter the city? What? Let the army enter the city? No, absolutely not. Before Kevin could speak, a man who looked like a knight standing next to the first knight firmly opposed it. Lord, if we let the enemy's army enter the city, what if they have bad intentions? Kevin agreed with the knight's words and confirmed, Jerry is right, the army cannot enter the city. Well, I'll let the guards go out of the city to inform them. Chang Sun Sheng was just testing it out and didn't have much hope at all. Later in the afternoon, Renzan commanded the cavalry outside the city to retreat a distance and set up camp on a small hill. He didn't care about the chief diplomat in the city at all. This was Chang Sun Sheng's request. At night, a long table was placed in the middle of the castle hall, piled with food from this world. Golden fluffy bread, fragrant roast meat, white soup. The self-service dining mode was very novel to Chang Sun Sheng. At the dinner, several servants stood in the corner of the hall, waiting to obey the orders of the nobles at any time. The ladies were dressed up, and the gentlemen were also polite, holding silver wine glasses in their hands. 2 or 3 people in a group, each talking and laughing happily. Lord Kevin saw that the atmosphere of the banquet was almost ready, so he picked up a small spoon from the plate and tapped the wine glass in his hand. The crisp sound of ding ding attracted the attention of most people present. Kevin was very satisfied to see that everyone's attention was focused on him. He nodded with satisfaction and said loudly, tonight's banquet is prepared by this lord for the guests coming from the south. Everyone should accompany the guests well. Come on, everyone toast the guests with this lord. Kevin raised his glass and drank the wine in his hand in one gulp. Your Excellency is polite. I would like to offer you a toast to you and all the gentlemen. Cheers. Chang Sun Sheng replied. After speaking, he drank the wine in his hand. The wine at the banquet was completely different from his own fine wine. It was a little sweet and the wine was also light yellow, without much alcohol taste. I should have given him a bottle of wine earlier. Giving him a pen is simply insulting. Ha ha ha, the envoy is indeed a cultured person. His words are so pleasant. This lord likes it. Kevin didn't like what Chang Sun Sheng said. He didn't even understand some of the words. What he liked was that Chang Sun Sheng told him that when the trade route was opened in the future, there would be many more gifts like crystal wine glasses. After their lord finished speaking, everyone present came forward to talk to Chang Sun Sheng, toasting and flattering him. It was so lively, and Chang Sun Sheng also took this opportunity to talk. Hello. I'm very happy to come to your place. What is your name? Oh, hello, John. Are you a noble? Ah. My disrespect. It turns out that your family is the treasurer who has been loyal to the Bill family for generations. What? There is such a thing. I never expected it. I didn't expect that Lord Kevin is also a lord. Your excellency is knowledgeable. I admire you. I wonder how many warriors your lord has. Really? There are 3,000 warriors. It's really amazing. I toast to you. I wonder if there are more powerful territories in other places? Oh, this is a remote area. There are many powerful territories in the middle of the continent. I'm really ignorant. I wonder how many territories there are on this continent? Countless territories. It's really a wonderful and prosperous world. It must be very peaceful, without any conflicts. It's unbelievable. There are wars every day. Aren't many people going to die? Then why are there so many territories? Won't they be occupied? Is there a convention? It stipulates that nobles cannot be harmed, castles cannot be destroyed, and territories cannot be occupied. It's really a friendly convention. Are there any differences among these territories? A lot of differences? In what aspects? Of course, the differences in the overall size and strength of the forces. Don't know? You remote territories can't compare with those powerful lords in the middle of the continent. After the banquet, Chang Sunsheng gained a lot. He obtained a lot of intelligence information, and some questions that were not easy to ask directly could be raised, and he got a lot of dry goods. Although these basic intelligence will be known to the country sooner or later, as long as there is more communication, it is better to know it one day earlier, so that countermeasures can be formulated one day earlier. Suddenly, Kevin knocked on the wine glass again, and laughed drunkenly with a red face. The next is a program that will make everyone happy and joyful. Hehe. The gentleman present showed an elusive obscene laugh. But the ladies were flushed, and full of excitement. Seeing this scene, Chang Sunsheng frowned, expecting that the next scene would not be very harmonious. Chapter 45, Castle Fallacy. As expected, Kevin clapped his hands, and a group of about 10 scantily clad women walked in from outside the hall. The women of all sizes walked to the middle of the hall, and stood in a row. Looking at the row, the oldest of these women was in their 20s, and the youngest was actually a little girl of only a few years old. Looking at her ignorant eyes, she had no idea how dark the next experience would be. Everyone, there is also the messenger. You can choose the ones you like. They are yours tonight. Ha ha ha. Kevin said without caring about the others. He first chose a little girl in her teens, hugged her and touched her all over. Looking at the dead eyes and numb expression of the little girl in Kevin's arms, it was just a completely hot dead body. Ha ha ha. Messenger, why are you standing here without moving? Are you dissatisfied with these people? Kevin saw Chang Sunsheng drinking alone, and asked a little unhappy. He thought that Chang Sunsheng was looking down on him, and not giving him face. Sir Kevin, I thank you for your special hospitality, but I'm on a diplomatic mission abroad, and have been entrusted by the monarch. I must be clean and self-disciplined, and not indulge in pleasure at will. I hope you will forgive me for my negligence. The reason why he still called Kevin Kevin, after knowing his title, was that someone told him, when he was asking questions just now, that Kevin didn't like being called by his title, because it was the lowest title, and made him lose face, so he didn't like being called that. Chang Sunsheng was very disgusted with this scene, even a little disgusted. But he knew his identity as an envoy of a country, and some things could not be completely based on personal preferences. Well, since the envoy doesn't want to enjoy, then you can start choosing. After listening to Chang Sunsheng's words, Kevin pursed his lips and felt very bored. Thank you, Lord. Then I won't be polite. Ha ha ha, beauty, here I come. As soon as Kevin finished speaking, the people who had been waiting on the side and couldn't wait rushed forward, and from time to time they thanked their lord. Seeing these people's anxious expressions, Chang Sunsheng didn't know what to say, so he picked up his wine glass and retreated to a corner to drink quietly, watching these people coldly. He even saw those so-called noble ladies and young ladies making moves on some little girls, pinching their faces and twisting their buttocks, which really gave him a good insight. No, it hurts. Woo woo, what are you going to do to Zioiui? I want my mother. Woo woo, mother. At this time, the youngest little girl, who had always been the focus of Chang Sunsheng, burst into tears. Hehe, oh, looking for your mother again. What a cute little girl. Look at this little face. You can pinch it to make water. The little girl was hugged in the arms of a middle-aged fat woman, who pinched the little girl's face with jealousy. When Chang Sun Sheng heard the little girl's cry, he always felt that he had heard the names IORUI somewhere, but he couldn't remember it for a while. He put down the wine glass in his hand, patted his head, and clasped his fists towards Kevin on the throne and said, "Sir Kevin, I'm a little drunk. I will take my leave first. I hope you will forgive me." Chang Sun Sheng really couldn't bear it any longer. He couldn't stop the scene in front of him, so he had to turn a blind eye. "Haha, you've only come this far? You can't do it. Okay, go back." Kevin was in high spirits now, very happy. Seeing that this boring envoy was about to leave, he agreed, and he didn't have to see him and was upset. Chang Sun Sheng walked out of the castle, stood outside the gate, took a deep breath, and then slowly exhaled, as if to cleanse the filthy air he had inhaled in the castle. He untied the reins of the warhorse, climbed on the horse, stopped and looked up. Looking at the clear and bright half-blue moon in the sky, he looked back at the castle behind him where demons were dancing wildly. Without saying anything, he waved his whip expressionlessly and galloped out of the city, leaving behind a loud neigh and a series of clear, gradually fading horse hoof sounds. Early the next morning, Chang Sun Sheng, accompanied by Ren Xian, returned to the castle. This time, he came to exchange documents for the conclusion of a trade treaty and said goodbye casually. But when they arrived at the castle, they were told by the guard that the lord was still sleeping and was expected to wake up at noon. The two were speechless about such a lord, who was really careless. Fortunately, the two were now considered acquaintances of Lord Kevin. Although the butler came out and invited the two to sit in the hall, he didn't even serve a glass of water, leaving the two sitting and waiting in vain. With the heavy army outside the city, the nobles of the city still had the mind to sleep and really regarded the so-called convention as a talisman. It seems that the people in this world, or these nobles, are really free and easy, one by one, heartless. Chang Sun Sheng knew it in a flash. What kind of knowledge can people from such remote places have? It seems that the real civilization is still in the so-called center of this continent. There is no way. Let's wait. Chang Sun Sheng sighed and said helplessly to Ren Xian, "If I had known this, I should have done all these things yesterday, and I wouldn't have let Captain Ren accompany me to suffer here. Mr. Chang Sun, you are too kind. I can only blame these barbarians for being lawless and ignorant of etiquette and shame. Since you are willing to wait for this grievance, what can I complain about?" Ren Xian still has a good impression of Chang Sun Sheng. There is no way. With Chang Sun Sheng's high emotional intelligence, his ability to speak well, and his good martial arts, he can have too many topics to talk about with Ren Xian. On the way here, the two can be regarded as friends who can talk about anything. During the conversation between the two, time unknowingly approached noon. At this time, Kevin walked in from outside the hall, walked straight to his throne, and sat down before impatiently saying to the two people, "I wonder what the two of you came to see me for today." "Sir Kevin, this envoy is here to exchange trade documents." Chang Sun Sheng had stood up since Kevin entered the hall, and he answered with a fist. "Trade documents? What is this?" Kevin asked in confusion after hearing it. Chang Sun Sheng explained to him what trade documents were for a long time, and finally Kevin said, "It's so troublesome." Although he said it was troublesome, he still agreed. The exchange process was very simple. Chang Sun Sheng now knew a little about the other party's character, so he took the initiative to take out two identical paper documents, signed and stamped them respectively, and each person kept one copy to complete it. "Thank you, sir. The documents have been exchanged, and this envoy has successfully completed the task given by the monarch. Then, this envoy will no longer bother Sir Kevin, and will take his leave." Chang Sun Sheng and the others really didn't want to stay in this place for a moment. Chapter 46, Tragedy in the Castle. Outside the castle, Chang Sun Sheng let out a long sigh, and said to Ren Xian, "Captain Ren, we have finally completed the mission. Although we have only been in this place for less than 2 days, I feel like it has been several years." Ren Xian congratulated Chang Sun Sheng with a relaxed smile on his face. "I would like to congratulate Mr. Chang Sun first." "Haha, congratulations." Chang Sun Sheng said happily, "You don't know, now I'm relieved." As the two talked, they slowly rode out of the city. When passing by a familiar tavern, they heard faint crying coming from inside. Chang Sheng, who was originally still relaxed, suddenly seemed to think of something, and suddenly his face changed. He said to Ren Zan seriously, "Captain Ren, I have a small matter that needs to be delayed for a while." After that, he didn't wait for Ren Zan to reply, and got off the horse, and walked into the tavern. Before Ren Zan could react to his actions, he saw that he had already walked into the tavern, so Ren Zan also got off the horse, and accompanied him into the tavern. As soon as Chang Sheng and Ren Zan entered the tavern, which was originally still talking, suddenly became silent. Everyone looked at the two curiously, and Chang Sheng asked without paying attention to other people's eyes, "Where is Yuna in the store? I have something to ask her." Annie, who was accompanying guests in the hall, heard the other party asking about Yuna again, and said, "Sir, what do you want to ask Yuna? She is not feeling well now, and is not convenient to see guests." Chang Sheng heard that this woman was one of the two women yesterday, so he replied directly, "I know where her daughter Xiaoru is. Let her come to see me." "What? Master, you know where Xiaoru is?" Annie was a little shocked. She didn't care whether what the other party said was true or not, and hurried upstairs. Only a scream was heard from upstairs, and then a burst of dense and fast footsteps came clearly. Chang Sheng looked towards the stairs when he heard the sound. A woman with a slightly messy dress looked around downstairs with tears and anxiety on her face. When she saw Chang Sheng and the others, her eyes lit up. She staggered down the stairs, trotted to Chang Sheng and the others, knelt down in front of Chang Sheng, grabbed Chang Sheng's clothes, and asked anxiously, "Master, do you know where my daughter Xiaoru is? I beg you please, Master, please tell me." Yuna cried and begged with tears on her face, fearing that the glimmer of hope she had waited for so hard would disappear. Chang Sheng winked at Ren Zan, and Ren Zan started to clear the place. He helped Yuna up before Ren Zan finished clearing the place. "Ms. Yuna, please stand up and talk. Don't be in a hurry. Come, sit over here, and listen to me slowly." Chang Sheng helped Yuna walk to the empty seat cleared by Ren Zan and sat down. At this time, Chang Sheng saw that Ren Zan had also finished clearing the scene. He looked around at the three people present, turned his head, and looked directly into Yuna's eyes, and said seriously, "Before I say anything, please prepare yourself mentally, Ms. Yuna." Annie felt a little bad when she heard Chang Sheng's words. She looked at Yuna's desperate expression, hurried forward to stabilize Yuna, held her hands tightly and comforted her. "Don't worry, Yuna, I'm here. Let's listen to what this master has to say first. Although it's a bit rude, since I'm facing it resolutely, I have to say it directly." Chang Sheng didn't want to be so blunt, but he had to say it sooner or later, and said, "I saw Xiaoru in the castle last night." So he slowly told the ridiculous scene last night. After that, he didn't care about the two poor women in front of him, walked out of the tavern without looking back, quickly mounted his horse, and galloped away. Ren Zan chased after him and asked curiously, "What did the gentleman say to those two women just now that made them cry like that?" And after the gentleman left, the desperate woman seemed to be dead. "Oh, just two poor people." So Chang Sheng told him everything he saw last night and the conversation he heard on the street about the two women just now. He finally sighed a little. "Oh, I don't know whether it is good or wrong for me to tell her this news." Ren Zan clenched his fists with anger on his face and said, "Sir, please give the order and let me lead the troops into the city to destroy the castle." "What are you talking about?" angrily. Chang Sheng comforted. "We are here on a diplomatic mission. We are here to complete the task entrusted by the monarch, not to fight." After a pause, he explained, "We have done our best to tell the victim this news. We are outsiders, and it seems that there are many such things. Can you take care of them?" After listening to this, Ren Zan vented in frustration. "I can't take care of it. But the one in front of us that we can control is not under our control. It's a barbaric land, uncivilized and unreasonable." Ren Zan thought for a moment, and asked Chang Sheng, "Sir, do you think the monarch will attack here in the future? If so, I'm willing to be the vanguard." Chang Sheng glanced at Ren Zan and said, "How should I know this? Even if we have to fight, it's not up to you and me to decide. Let's leave this place of trouble as soon as possible." Chang Sheng still had a good impression of Ren Zan's overflowing sense of justice. After all, there were not many young people like him. Although he did not approve of such irrationality, it could not stop his appreciation. Don't think that Chang Sun Sheng told the two women about what happened last night because he felt pity or couldn't stand it. As he said, there are such things everywhere in the world. How can he control them or feel pity for them? You know what Chang Sun Sheng is most famous for in history? That is the great wisdom of sowing discord and disintegrating a great force. How could he be so emotional because of this matter? On the other side, in the tavern, it took Yuna a long time to come back to her senses from the news. She screamed in despair, God, what should I do? What should I do? That was the Lord. Her daughter was suffering in the Lord's castle, but she had no way to help him. She really collapsed and was going crazy. If her daughter Xiaoru was not still waiting for her rescue, she would really go crazy. Annie was also shocked by the news. She didn't expect that there would be such a ridiculous thing in the castle. Although there were rumors that there was an unbearable side in the castle, most of them were just after dinner talk and no one took it seriously. It was not until Yuna's screams rang out that she was brought back to reality. And the tavern had not been far away, and even more people came and rushed in to watch. Yuna, poor Yuna, how are you going to live in the future? Annie cried with tears on her face. After all, they were just two poor women in the Dark Ages. What else could they do? Yuna cried and suddenly stood up, pushed the crowd away, and ran towards the street, crying as she ran. She disappeared in the blink of an eye. Yuna, where are you going? Come back soon. Don't do anything stupid. When Annie saw this, she hurriedly chased after her, fearing that her friend would do something stupid. At this time, in the tavern, a thin man who had been eavesdropping outside was showing off to the crowd what he had just overheard. The man spoke eloquently and complacently. You don't know how miserable the woman named Yuna was just now. She has a daughter named Xiaoru who was kidnapped and sold. Didn't two foreign nobles come in just now? These two people came to tell her that he knew where her daughter was. Unexpectedly. Chapter 47 Two Talents. Lord, a report from the north says that a city was found 30 kilometers north of the mountain range. Zhao Wu came to the Lord's mansion and reported to Yang Song in a hurry. Oh, I know. Yang Song replied. In fact, he had already discovered it. After all, he had been paying attention to the small map. Ding, congratulations to the host for discovering the local civilization. Reward 1 intelligence officer and 1 diplomat. Please pay attention to receive the reward. Oh, I didn't expect that there would be rewards for discovering local civilizations. Yang Song thought to himself. The abandoned villages I encountered at the beginning don't seem to be encountering civilizations, but after discovering the city, I was prompted to discover civilizations. It seems that it takes a certain size of people or groups to count. In fact, every time after encountering a system reward, Yang Song would summarize it to see if he could summarize the rules of the system's reward issuance. The result? Obviously, there is no result. Yang Song chose to receive the reward in the study and was in a trance. Two middle-aged men appeared in front of him. A man with a goatee on the left saw Yang Song, his eyes lit up, and he stepped forward and bowed, saying, I'm Chen Ping, I pay my respects to the Lord. A man with a square face and a burly figure on the right also stepped forward and bowed, saying, I'm Chang Sun Sheng, I pay my respects to the Lord. Welcome to the two great talents. I wonder which of you is the intelligence officer and which is the diplomat? Yang Song asked in confusion after welcoming them. I'm an intelligence officer, proficient in intelligence gathering, spying, instigating rebellion, bribery and other means. Chen Ping answered first. I'm a diplomat, proficient in the art of talking, sorry to make fun of me. Chang Sun Sheng answered concisely. Chang Sun Sheng, courtesy name Jisheng, a famous military strategist and diplomat in the Sui dynasty. Main deeds, separating the strong from the weak, using barbarians to control barbarians, and alienating the Turks. He was ordered to visit the Turks many times. Although he did not command any major battles during his more than 20 years of exchanges with the Turks, he made great contributions to the division and disintegration of the Turks, maintaining peace in the northern border of the Sui dynasty, and promoting national integration with his outstanding strategy. Chen Ping, one of the founding heroes of the Western Han Dynasty, was called Prime Minister Chen in historical records. His most famous achievement was that he suggested donating tens of thousands of pounds of gold, alienating Xiang ministers, and causing Xiang important advisor Fan Zheng to die of worry and anger. He controlled the intelligence agency in Liu Bang's hands, and was Liu Bang's right-hand man. Liu Bang would ask for Chen Ping's opinions on any important decisions. Looking at the character introductions given by the system, Yang Song immediately felt that these were two great gods again. The system rewarded these two people, which was more practical than rewarding him with 10,000 troops. The system is really a timely reign. As soon as it discovered the local civilization, it rewarded him with intelligence and diplomatic talents. It's really what the system rewards him for. Yang Song really wanted to say to the system, how thoughtful. Yang Song didn't know much about Chang San Sheng, but he saw that the illusion of killing two birds with one stone explained in the system came from this person. This is a diplomat with good martial arts. In the future, when he goes to foreign countries to quarrel/fight at the negotiation table, Yang Song doesn't have to worry about his own people being at a disadvantage. He is familiar with Chen Ping's name, and it is hard not to know him. The legendary fourth hero of the early Han Dynasty is the fourth person after Zhang Liang, Xiao He, and Han Xin. There is no need to say much about the talents of the two. What Yang Song is worried about is that the weakness of the territory cannot bring out the talents of the two people. Hey, with these two people, the territory can be regarded as filling the gaps in these two aspects. Yang Song thought to himself. He said to the two people, wait a moment, wait for me to gather all the talents in the territory, to introduce them to the two of you, so that I can arrange work at that time. Subordinates, obey your orders. The two said in unison. And for the two great talents, it is also very necessary to get to know their colleagues who will serve the same monarch in the future. In the council hall, Yang Song sat in the main seat, and said to the many talented people present, today, the territory has added two new talents. Let me introduce you. This is Chang San Sheng, who is in charge of diplomacy. Yang Song raised his hand to signal Chang San Sheng, who stood up and saluted to everyone present. He then accepted Chang San Sheng's fate and said, Chang San Sheng will be responsible for the territory's foreign exchanges in the future. He will be directly responsible to me. Yang Zhang, if Mr. Chang San has any material and personnel requirements, you must try your best to meet them. The following is the instructions to the county magistrate Yang Zhang. I obey your orders. Yang Zhang and Chang San Sheng said at the same time. I will live up to the trust of the Lord. This is Chang San Sheng's promise. Many officials present showed a kind smile to Chang San Sheng, expressing their welcome to his arrival. Yang Song then introduced, this is Chen Ping, who is responsible for spying on the enemy and collecting intelligence. Chen Ping also stood up and saluted everyone present. I will know what happens in the territory in the future. Haha. Yang Song's joke was not sure whether it was true or false. After joking, he continued, Chen Ping, the intelligence work of the territory will be handed over to you in the future. You will be given money and people. It will also be directly under my control. I obey your orders. I will make sure that the territory knows itself and the enemy, and let the Lord have clear ears and eyes. Chen Ping replied solemnly. From Yang Song's support for Chen Ping without telling Yang Zhang, it can be seen that Yang Song attaches great importance to intelligence. And the faces of the people present suddenly changed. The originally relaxed atmosphere in the council hall suddenly became heavy. Yang Song sensed this scene and did not say much. It is not a bad thing to put some pressure on these officials. Let them completely cut off some bad signs that have not yet appeared. Chen Ping, you just came to the territory and you should be familiar with it, but now you are in the north of the territory and the territory knows nothing about it, so I have to let you work hard and work hard. Yang Song issued a task to Chen Ping. Thank you for your trouble, Lord. I'm very grateful. Chen Ping stood up and bowed to Yang Song again, saying, this is my job. Why do you say it's hard work? But I really know nothing about this world. I hope the Lord will allow me some time. I will live up to the Lord's trust and give you a satisfactory answer. Chen Ping was not a person who made promises casually, so he still asked Yang Song for time. Okay, no problem. Just ask about the information in the territory. I will let everyone in the territory cooperate with you. If anyone dares not to cooperate, just tell me and see how I deal with him. Yang Song supported Shenping and reminded everyone present not to think that the two were easy to bully when they first arrived. He would support them. Thank you, Lord. Shenping thanked Yang Song and sat down, looking at his thoughtful face. It seems that he has started working now. Next, let's talk about building a new county in the northern mountainous area. If you have any ideas, please share them. Yang Song introduced the two people as a byproduct. The reason for holding this meeting was the expansion of the territory to build a new county. Chapter 48 Territory Expansion. Lord, there are too many mountainous areas in the north, and transportation is inconvenient. I think it is better to expand several towns based on the northern passages first. Yang Zong stood up and spoke first. As the administrative officer of the territory, Yang Zong still has a lot of say in the development of the territory, and Yang Song has to pay attention to his opinion. What County Magistrate Yang said is true. I also think it is not necessary to expand to 2 counties at once. The current population of the territory is not enough to support such an expansion. Wei Dong, who manages civil affairs under Yang Zhang, agreed. Seeing that both of them agreed to expand step by step, Yang Song actually thought so in his heart. Steady development as the kingly way, and leapfrog development as sequely. The other people present did not speak because they were not responsible for this area and had different divisions of labor. So Yang Song asked them to hold this meeting, mainly to facilitate the coordination of departments when the territory expanded next. Okay, in this case, let's talk about how many towns should be expanded in the north. Where is the location? Yang Song affirmed this suggestion and then talked about the issue of site selection. After a meeting for most of the day, it was finally decided to expand 5 towns along the passage in the north, evenly distributed over the 200-kilometer passage in the north. The third town, the one in the middle, was located at the intersection of 2 rivers. It was the first town to be built, and the key town to be built. It was named Central Town. The 5th town was only 30 kilometers away from the pass at the entrance of the mountain pass. What do you think of the name of the pass in the northern mountains? Yang Song suddenly remembered that the northern pass had not had a name until now. No one present spoke. Yang Li stood up and said, please give it a name, Lord. In fact, everyone thought so in their hearts. How dare they take over the Lord's business without the Lord's word? Yang Song looked at everyone with an expression that said you have the final say, and said helplessly, the pass in the northern mountains is located in the cliff, like a natural moat. Why not call it Natural Moat Pass? In fact, Yang Song asked this because he knew what level of naming he was at. Who knew that none of his subordinates, whom he valued, were willing to share the burden with him. My lord is wise. This name is simply a God-given name. Yang Li was the first to agree, just to flatter. Qian Pass 'ZHUZ stroked his beard, read the name lightly, and said for a long time, there is nothing wrong with the Lord's name. The outside and inside of the pass are like a natural moat, which fits the ability of this place. Since ZHUZ, who is in charge of education and culture, has spoken, no one else said anything. So the name was decided. Yang Song thought so too. When he saw this place on the small map, he felt that this place was not just a pass, but an iron curtain to protect the territory. Its importance is self-evident. Then, today's meeting ends here. All departments must work together to implement the decisions made at today's meeting as soon as possible. Yang Song saw that the meeting was almost over, so he asked his subordinates to adjourn. After the meeting, Yang Zan found Yang Song alone and said, Lord, should we increase the number of people to be recruited from now on? Well, yes, we can try to increase the number of people in the territory to 100,000 within half a year, and to 150,000 before the end of the year. Yang Song pondered for a while, agreed to Yang Zan's suggestion, and gave a specific number. After Yang Song said the number, he asked, will the increase of 100,000 people in half a year have any impact on food? And is there a plan for the accommodation of the recruited people? No problem, the food in the territory can fully support so many people, as long as so many people are not recruited in one day. Yang Zan replied affirmatively. I roughly calculated that, as long as the people are recruited in batches slowly within 5 months, the food stored in the territory plus the output of the fields can fully support it. The housing of the people is also a problem. Yang Zhang was a little embarrassed when he said this, but he seemed to have thought of something. He relaxed his brows and said, now that several new towns have been expanded, the resettlement of the people is no longer a big problem. It's just that the construction of residential houses takes time. Yang Zhang suggested, I think that the houses in the newly built areas should be built by the people themselves, and the territory will provide support in management, planning, materials, etc. In return, will the Lord reduce the price of these houses by half? Well, your idea is very good. Yang Zhang thought carefully, and it could really speed up the development. He said, the previous infrastructure construction was built by the engineering team, but the engineering team is now building a pass in the north, and has no spare time. As long as these people build various infrastructures, after building their own houses, it doesn't matter if I give them houses for free. That's it. Yang Zhang made the decision. Think about it, building their future homes, the people must be full of energy, and there is no need to worry about the quality of the construction. Who would cut corners for the house they live in? The most important thing is that, as long as it is built, the territory will not charge these people a penny, but there is no corresponding salary, only food. The materials are provided by the territory, the tools are also provided by the territory, and the management is also the officials of the territory. These are all the efforts of the territory. The people only need to contribute their manpower and effort, and after a period of time, they can get a home to live in. There is no such good thing in the world. Of course, the people also have to work hard to build various infrastructures including government offices, schools, and post stations, but this is also for the good of the local people. Only when the infrastructure is complete can life be better. The 5,000 people who were temporarily resettled outside the city also set out to select locations to build their future homes. The vacant simple houses left behind will be left to the newly recruited people for temporary resettlement. Outside the north city of Xianqi City, there is a resettlement area built along the river on both sides of the avenue, after crossing the river along the stone arch bridge. These are still simple wooden houses built by the people themselves. The construction materials are also provided by the territory to resettle the newly recruited people and facilitate the centralized management of the territory. It's just a bit hard for this group of recruited people. They have to build their homes again. Li He, come out and walk. Why are you still staying in this broken house? Outside a simple wooden house in the resettlement residential area, Li He's sister yelled at her brother outside the simple wooden door. This little girl is a smart ghost. She has 2 ponytails and a cotton light yellow floral dress. With her hands behind her back, she holds an unknown little red flower, leans forward and pouts at Li He who comes out of the small wooden door. Okay, Li He, why are our personalities so different? Even though we are both called Li He holds a bundle in his hand, pushes open the small wooden door, and comes out to complain to his sister. Sister, you are a girl, don't be so irritable, or you won't be able to get married in the future. Li He wears a blue cotton gown, her long hair is tied behind her head, and a strand of restless hair hangs down beside her ears. Her delicate face and tall figure make the aunties and girls around the neighbors frequently sneak glances at her. Who looks like you? You are obviously a man, but you look worse than me, than a girl like me. Li He turned her head away proudly and said, it's too early for me to get married. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 49 Brothers and Sisters Outside the City. I'm only 15 years old. The Lord has said that it's not good for girls to get married too early. Li He said with confidence. Yes, you are right. You have brought up the Lord. What else do you want me to say? Li He was helpless with this sister, who was 3 years younger than him. Li He seemed to have won a great victory, and waved his hand and said, let's go. Li He, live a good life with this girl. Li He looked at his sister whose name was the same as his, smiled very gently, shook his head gently, and followed with a small bag. What Lee didn't know was that it was his helpless and gentle smile looking at his sister's back that fascinated the little girls passing by. As for why there were so many little girls passing by here, Lee said he didn't know. Anyway, since he came here, there were always many little girls passing by. Brother, do you think the Lord is very powerful? Lee asked his brother while walking on the road. Lee replied with certainty, he must be amazing. Why are you asking this? I heard that the Lord is only 21 years old, has not married yet, and is still very handsome. Lee said, turning his head to look at his handsome brother, and then said, he is much more handsome than you. Sister, how can your brother compare with the Lord? Aren't you insulting your brother? Lee suddenly felt something was wrong after he finished speaking, so he stopped and looked at his sister seriously. Lee felt that there was no one around him, and turned back to Lee who was standing still and said, brother, what are you doing? Let's go. The gathering place is just ahead. Lee asked his sister with a serious face, sister, do you like the Lord? Lee heard his brother's question, and at first he didn't react, and turned his head. Suddenly, Lee realized what his brother asked. You want to die? Lee, what are you talking about? Lee reacted, his face flushed, walked in front of Lee, and kept hitting Lee's chest with a pair of pink fists, as if to hit back what his brother said. Ahem, sister, stop hitting me, isn't it okay if I'm wrong? Facing such a sister, Lee had no choice but to admit his mistake. That's better. Humph. After hearing his brother admit his mistake, Lee let him go. Lee, if you talk nonsense again in the future, I will ignore you. Humph. Lee rubbed his chest and looked at his sister in front of him. He was sure that his sister really liked the Lord. Some time ago, when the Lord came to inspect the resettlement site, he saw the brother and sister and said a few words to them. At that time, his sister was not as unruly as she is now. At that time, when the Lord came to talk to him, his sister was so shy that she hid behind him. Hello, are you two siblings? Yang Song asked the two conspicuous boys and girls with a friendly and gentle smile. My lord, yes, this is my sister Lee, and I'm my brother Lee. Lee replied calmly. Although he was a little nervous, he didn't know why he was so calm. Oh, I didn't expect that both of you brothers and sisters are called Lee. It's really interesting. Where are your parents? Yang Song suddenly felt interesting and asked. Lee turned his head and looked at his sister who was hiding behind him and holding his clothes tightly, looking like she wanted to see, but didn't dare to see, and turned back and replied, there are only the two of us, no other relatives. Oh, that's it. Yang Song looked at the small wooden house behind the two and asked, did you two build this house? It was built by the uncles and aunts, and I just helped. I'm really grateful to these uncles and aunts. Lee said sensibly. Okay, that's good. It's good for neighbors to help each other. Yang Song was very satisfied that the people had this simple feeling of helping each other between neighbors. If you two have any difficulties, just tell those officials, or even tell me. Not only you and your sister, but everyone. We will help you. After saying this, Yang Song continued to inspect forward. What was left behind was a hope and a feeling. Looking back now, the Lord is really kind and amiable. Lee thought of his sister and shook his head secretly. Even if his sister fell in love with the Lord, the gap between the two was not ordinary. How could the two be possible? After agreeing on this point, Lee felt relieved about his sister and said, sister, let's go. It's not good to be late. After that, regardless of Lee's doubtful expression, he took the lead and walked towards the gathering point not far ahead. Hey, wait for me. Lee saw her brother walking away and thought he was angry, so she walked up quickly, ran to Lee's side, and grabbed his arm, and said coquettishly, brother, why are you walking so fast? Are you angry? At most, I will be gentler next time, and you don't have to be angry. Lee heard her say that she would hit him more gently in the future, and he was also amused and said, you will hit me again in the future, and you will be gentler? Thank you. You're welcome. Lee saw that her coquettish method was effective again, and replied with a smile. Brother, where are we moving to this time? I heard it's quite far. Lee did not put down his arm, but hugged Lee's arm tightly in his arms. It's quite far, more than 100 kilometers, and it will take 4 or 5 days to walk. Fortunately, there are many people. Just hold on. Lee gently patted the little hand that was holding his arm tightly and comforted him. It's so far. Then do you think I can see the Lord in the future? Lee said worriedly. Lee only realized that his worry was completely unnecessary after hearing this. This girl was worried that she would not be able to see her lover in the future. You are already worried, and you said you don't like him? Lee did not wait for his sister to get angry and continued to explain. The Lord is so busy every day, and we live so far away. It will be difficult to see the Lord in the future. What should we do? Brother, how about we not move? Lee just asked and shook her head before her brother said, No. This is not listening to the Lord. We still have to move. She was crying as she spoke, and finally she couldn't help it and cried while hugging her brother's arm. Okay. You are so old and a big girl, and you are still crying. Look, there are so many people around watching you. Aren't you ashamed? Lee saw his sister crying and hurriedly comforted her. My little brother, what's wrong with this girl? Why is she crying again? An aunt next to her asked enthusiastically after seeing it. Auntie, this is my sister. She was a little reluctant to leave when she heard that she was going to leave here. Lee explained to the crowd that gradually gathered around him. He was also afraid of being misunderstood by these kind-hearted people and being misunderstood as a bad guy who bullied a little girl. If he was beaten up, he would have no place to complain. Chapter 50 carriages. Really? So they are brother and sister. The enthusiastic aunt was really enthusiastic and said, we don't want to leave here either, but the living here is not very good, not as good as the people in the city. Yes, I heard that. As long as we move to a new place, we can also live in a beautiful house like the one in the city. An uncle next to him took over the conversation. It's just a little far, and we have to repair it ourselves. It won't be easy to see the Lord in the future. This is also a lord who worships the Lord. Why? You want to be lazy? Live in a ready-made place now? The other one was a little uncomfortable when he heard what this person said. No, how could I? I just want to live closer to the Lord. When this person heard that others misunderstood him, he hurriedly explained. At this time, they had long forgotten why they were gathered here and only cared about their own chat. The two brothers and sisters had long been forgotten by these people. Lee stopped crying at this time. Tears were still hanging on her face. She half raised her head and looked at Lee pitifully and said, Brother, listen, I'm not the only one who can't bear to leave here. Then we have to move. Lee was interrupted by Lee's words before he finished speaking. Lee angrily shook Lee's arm and said, as a brother, you don't know how to comfort your pitiful sister. Can you bear to see your lovely sister sad? Lee really felt a headache at this time. Why is this woman so difficult to serve? The two separated the crowd and walked towards the avenue and found their own team, all neighbors living together. 10 teams were arranged in the middle of the avenue, and each team had a temporary captain. When they arrived at the destination, they would also be arranged in this way when building. 5,000 people sounded like a lot, and standing together, it looked like more. In front of the whole queue, an official in official robes spoke loudly with a metal loudspeaker in his hand. Fellow villagers, hurry up and line up. Be quiet, I can't hear you talking. We'll set off soon. Come over if you haven't come yet. Look around to see if there's anyone who hasn't come yet. Raise your hands and shout. The scene was noisy, with children crying, parents disciplining, and a few people chatting together. There was no comparison with the militia. The last time the road was repaired, there were many more people, but it wasn't so chaotic. There was nothing we could do about it. The militia had all gone through military training, so they were definitely better at maintaining order. But now these people were all kinds of people. The two siblings were also amused when they heard the managers above yelling hard, maintaining order, and directing the people to line up. Lee pulled his sister to see if there were any people in his team who hadn't come yet. Standing in front of the team was a family of 3, and the male owner was the captain of the team. He was also very tough, and it was probably because his size gave him a great advantage in being chosen as the captain. This man, who looked tough, but was actually simple, walked around very diligently. When he saw the two siblings, he said, Lee, don't take your sister around everywhere. We will set off soon. It will be bad if they get separated. Lee pulled his sister Lee and quickly replied, "Okay uncle, got it, uncle." After that, he obediently returned to the queue. At this time, Lee pulled his brother's hand hard and said excitedly, "Look, look, brother, look." Lee looked in the direction pointed by Lee's little hand and saw a pair of four-wheeled carriages coming out of the city. The carriages were lined up neatly and passed through the reserved passage in front of them one by one. Carriages with exactly the same format, color, and style passed by them one after another. Lee jumped up excitedly, shaking Lee's arm and said, "Brother, I have never seen so many carriages. Look, the horses pulling the carriages are so tall and big." Lee also stared at the carriages with his eyes blankly. He didn't react until Lee shook his arm. The other people were also watching this scene excitedly. Some of the people standing a little further back jumped up to watch, jumping and jumping. It was very lively. In this way, carriages passed by the two of them one by one. After an unknown amount of time, these carriages stopped. "Brother, there are so many carriages. What are they doing?" Lee asked Lee excitedly. "How should I know? But seeing that most of these carriages are empty, they should be here to pull people," Lee guessed. At this time, the official standing on the high ground in front said loudly again, "Everyone, pay attention. These carriages are all sent by the wise and powerful Lord to pick you up, but there are only 100 carriages, and some are used to transport supplies, so only children, the elderly, and the injured can ride in the carriages, and others can only walk. Please be more tolerant." When the people heard that they were really here to pick people up, they immediately became noisy. Although only the elderly, the weak, women and children can ride in the carriages, and others can only walk. Even so, the people are very grateful for the care given by the territory. The Lord is so kind. Thank you, Lord, my mother doesn't have to suffer now. Oh, I was still wondering what to do with my child, but I didn't expect that the Lord had arranged it. God bless you. Brother, the Lord is so kind, and he is so kind to everyone. Lee was moved and shook Lee's arm gently and slowly, feeling that his whole body was soft. "Sister, now I finally know why you like the Lord." Lee took a deep breath and said, "Look, among these people around, who doesn't like the Lord? These 100 carriages are all material transport carriages. Many of them have been built by the territory in recent times, not only for the expansion of the territory this time, but also for the future transportation of materials and commerce to the north. It is about 230 kilometers from Cheyenne Pass to Cheyenne City. Such a long supply line requires a strong transportation capacity. Therefore, Yang Song asked Yang Ren of the Habeo Bureau to form such a carriage transport team. The entire transport team has a total of 102 pairs of horses, double-axle four-wheeled carriages. For this reason, Yang Song also asked the horse farm in the south to urgently allocate 200 horses. The town to be expanded this time is the first new town in the plan, the central town, which means a town in the center, and will be expanded into a county town in the future. These carriages are used to transport supplies and personnel. 30 of them are loaded with food, wood, mails and other supplies. This is also the first batch of supplies. After these 5,000 people are settled, they will come and go on this passage for a long time. Everyone, pay attention. Everyone is here. Start getting on the carriage from the first team here. Men, show your manliness and help the people around you. The officials commanded the people in a kind and friendly way, and the people consciously lined up to get on the carriages. When one carriage was full, it would set off. Men and young women accompanied the carriages with their families on both sides and set off together. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.